Hello everybody, and welcome to a special pre-recorded episode of Campfire Quest. We got our weekend started on time, but our broadcast is coming to you a little bit later, so you'll be able to start your, when you really get into the weekend with us. Hopefully you're watching it now so you can look at your watch and tell exactly what time you got to do that. For everybody else sitting around the table, we're excited to be playing our game, and we're excited to be on a Campfire Quest this Friday.
Yeah!
Welcome to the adventurers.
Stories to tell around the campfire.
Maybe Grant or Parker has something that they could talk about. Maybe Joe's got something.
A recap?
No, we'll save that for when the episode begins. This is that banter of not quite in the episode time. We haven't even done the intro yet.
Well, I don't have a commercial done, but I can tell you about that thing that I did.
Tell us.
Right.
Okay, so I am primarily an editor. Not so much video as it is more like text-based or images, either one. And I have a gig up on Fiverr right now, Fiverr, and my handle is Salt Walker. And for starting at $5, I will edit your writing project. So check me out.
I hope that for $5, it's a very small writing project, and you charge more for bigger writing projects.
Oh yeah, definitely.
My 300-page thesis, $5.
I'll give you $3.50. So, Joe, that's pretty exciting, and I mostly want to find out the full scope of what you're doing. You've got text editing, but what do you mean photo? Like my picture of my grandfather that's all water damaged, that kind of thing? Or?
Yes, actually, I do old photo restoration and minor edits, stuff like that, cleaning up portraits or raw photos that you might have of like vacations you've gone on, or there's this weird dude in the background and I want to get rid of him. I can do that too. Weird dudes in the foreground, that may be a different story.
Yeah.
But,
You married him, it's your fault.
in either case, yeah, it's the only thing on Fiverr right now is text-based editing, because it's just easier to go through that platform. But feel free to contact me at joannawalker@protonmail.com or find me on Facebook.
Or Salt Walker on Fiverr.
Yes.
All right.
Or Instagram. Or Twitter. Or,
Salt Walker's all over the place?
Salt Walker's all over the place.
Right.
Because it's, I'm a salt monger. Last name's Walker. Salt Walker. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Anybody else got a business?
No, my roommate's trying to sell his camera.
Oh. What kind of camera is it?
It's a Canon Rebel T6.
Okay.
It comes with a stock lens, and he's selling it for $325. He'll negotiate down to $300, but no less. You can negotiate.
Actually, I don't know.
I'll pay him $250.
That'd probably be a decent price because they have dropped since he bought it. So.
I don't want it.
Oh. Well, you got my hopes up.
Canon
I'm sorry.
I put it in the Facebook group, the school one.
Yeah, $350 is about right. I have a 70D, and I'm selling that too. So, but mine's has yet to be posted. Oh, I'm also selling a painting, and I need to post that right now.
Haha.
Did you say meow?
Right now, yes.
Oh, she's.
Have I invited the demons?
Yeah. Why is she damp?
She jumped in the pool.
Oh!
She is easily the most beautiful dog on earth, and I can't get enough of her. But now she smells like the most beautiful wet dog on earth.
Oof.
Which, go hide your shame, Hetty.
Hide your shame.
Hide my shame.
Aww.
Well, let me close that and just say that I think that we've worked ourselves up into a nice little intro, and we'll go ahead and roll the intro, and when we get back, the episode will start.
Yeah.
I cannot get enough of that intro. I could watch that 5 times in a row, and I'd be lying if I said that I hadn't done that before. So that's really cool. Brought to us by somebody who's not even on camera. Mm-hmm. She's doing all the hard work over there. We've got Zoe, and under the tutelage of Ozzy Oswald, Tyler Ozzy Oswald, the EP.
Who looks appropriately startled.
Yeah.
I'm shell shocked.
We have a lot of quality people here, and none of them want to talk about this. They want to find out what the heck's going to happen next, and I do too, because the episode just started.
Ooh. Oh, yeah.
Last we left, your objective was in sight. Could you walk me up to that moment? Tell me what happened last episode?
Well.
Well.
Joe and I, or Monolith and Quinn, went off on our own little adventure. We got in a tower, and the Minotaur that was leading us went down with the other two, and we were like, nope, we're going up. And we went up the tower, and we found some boxes. We got a lot of potions.
Oh man, we're carrying like 20 whole potions right now.
We got some. We still need to split those up.
Yeah.
But we also found blood vials.
Lots of blood.
And broke them all.
Broke all of them. Every single one.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we're gonna die.
Yeah.
Well,
It's okay.
More than likely.
We don't know what happened. We think that they're the vials of other adventurers that are probably dead. We don't know what happens if you break a vial of an adventurer that's alive. So it's probably good that none of those were our blood vials.
Are you sure about that?
Well, I mean, that I know of, I would imagine.
Yeah.
I'm just assuming. You break a blood vial that's tied to your blood magic or whatever, something bad happens. But, that didn't happen. Then we found a little bed with a little chest next to it, and I was like, forget about it, let's just go up.
I was like,
you were
no!
like, I really want to see it, and I was like, yeah, I do too, let's go. I failed my first lockpicking check.
Oh man, I failed harder.
She failed harder, gave it back to me, and then I succeeded. And we opened it up, and it ended with us seeing the box for the orb. And you guys, your little recap of your adventure.
Well, you went up. We definitely went down with the Minotaur. And it was pretty uneventful up until the point of when we went down there and we were at the bottom of the stairs. I don't remember what the check was, but we failed something. And so he was like, I don't think you guys should be here. And he started trying to
He noticed
leave.
that we weren't with you.
Yeah.
He
It was a
succeeded
deception
in it.
check.
He succeeded in his perception to notice that we weren't there.
Yeah.
That was bad.
Which wasn't hard.
You totally tried to lie to this poor Minotaur like 3 different times in a row and
About
failed
3
all of
different
them.
things.
Yes.
That was definitely pretty bad.
Oh man.
And so Janet Tammy turned into a giant spider to scare him, and
What?
Valandril used intimidation a lot, and then the Minotaur started crying a lot, and Janet Tammy felt really bad about it, and so she changed out of spider form, and Valandril was still being intimidating, and then the Minotaur is still crying, I think.
Yes, last we left, he was curled up in the fetal position, I believe.
I was
On the
trying to
floor.
give him
Yes.
bread and some
Yeah.
water to help calm him down.
And if a person just like animorphed into a giant spider right in front of you,
Honestly,
I
with
would
like the
cry.
varying stages that we
Oh,
described
I
about
would be,
like
like,
the tusks
that
turning
middle-
into the thing.
that middle section, I would be
Oof.
unconscious.
Yeah.
I would have been like,
more than
"Ugh."
likely.
And he also explained something at the end, and that's that it was his job and task to protect something.
Mm-hmm.
You guys have a pretty good idea of what that is.
Yeah.
And when he heard that you wanted to destroy it, he realized that he would be failing at his job if you were successful at yours. I think that happened as well. And all of that followed a rather epic battle with octopi.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
Octopi battle on the water.
Lots
Yep.
of tentacles.
We are
Lots of
not,
tentacles
not
and,
even going to really recap that at all. If anybody wants to go...
I still have a tentacle.
There is still a tentacle in today's story.
Yeah.
There is still a tentacle
One
in today's
tentacle
story.
still in play.
So yeah, we chopped off a lot of tentacles, and Quinn apparently was really good at that part, and ended up with a tentacle on her hand, which she then used to bash the other tentacles into submission.
Wow.
Tentacle weapon.
Yes.
Made stronger, by the way, which it oddly hardens after it's been removed
After
from
it's
the,
been
the
removed.
creature.
Yeah. So it,
Rigor mortis is bitch.
Yeah, it did more
works well.
damage than my longsword on occasion.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was pretty wicked.
Wicked. See,
And I'm
this,
gonna smack a Minotaur with it if he comes after us.
this tabletop RPG game has everything.
Yeah.
You think we weren't going to get tentacles? You were wrong. It's going to be tentacles and spiders, and who else? What else are we afraid of? Heights?
That's you.
No, spiders was my thing, so that's already covered.
Anybody afraid of clowns?
Who isn't?
Only if I
That's a
can
good
see
answer.
them and they're like they got those fake
You're
chainsaws,
lying.
like at those.
Ooh, I hate
Better
that.
those horror-
I hate it when they chase
Those
you.
aren't clowns. Those are murderers.
Oh, that's right. I was on the east side. Oh. I thought it was an amusement park.
Oh no. Well, we still have you guys broken up, which isn't a terrible, complex thing to deal with. We have you in a mild set of initiative orders that you were in for a while, but with your subdued buddy and the two of you being completely unsupervised, there's nothing taking us from swapping longer than 6-second turns. What do you guys think? Should we start upstairs or down?
Downstairs.
Let's leave the best for last. We'll start with them.
Yeah, we'll start with downstairs.
Oh, then you guys should go first.
No, it's too late. We already made the joke. You can't reverse it.
No take backsies.
Reverse card.
I want to carry one of those on me.
Carry around Uno cards in your pockets.
Reverse.
Or the lesser known dose.
Oh. I'm just
It exists.
rubbing
I
the
know.
Minotaur's back while
Why
like,
you
giving
giving
him
me
some
that?
bread and
I
water
know.
and stuff. Like, I'm really sorry. I don't really know. I'm sorry. That's all. Like, I'm sorry.
He has occasionally glanced up at you because it took a while for you to anamorph back into a giant
Just
half-orc. This time, far less spindly legs coming out of your body.
Yeah.
And he's stopped sobbing, and he's now just really concerned that you're going to get the orb. And he says, but before anything else happens, he says, I can't believe I didn't get to show you what I wanted to show you, and now I can't take you. You're just too scary.
But what were you gonna show us? I would love to see what you were gonna show us. Would it make you feel better? I'd love to see.
You're scary.
I'm sorry. There's nothing I can do to make myself seem less scary. I mean, here. And she pulls like a flower from her pocket and hands it to him.
What's the flower look like?
It's just like a normal flower, like from that you like wildflower like patches and stuff that like she picks up randomly when she walks around. Yeah, like a
Meet Clover. Clover.
No,
like
clove.
like
I might be saying that wrong, but the ones the bumblebees go on.
The puffball?
Yeah, the puffball.
I mean, but you don't blow it. It's hard because
Yeah,
it's on the
yeah.
clover. Yeah.
That was a clove.
So, honestly, there aren't a lot of things that would have caused Minotaur in his state to be less frightened. But something about this particular flower, the fact that you located clover, it's not that cows love clover, you guys. If that's what you're thinking, it's not that. It may have a little something to do with that. But that's not entirely it. Imagine being on a desert your entire life, seeing nothing but sand and cacti.
It's coarse and it gets everywhere.
We're getting sued.
We deserve it.
We deserve it. I'm dead.
You go ahead and just come after us. Come after the Tyler Ozzy Oswald channel. We Mr. Ozzy
At Mr. Ozzy Oswald on Twitch. Come at me, bro.
Push him under the bus. Just.
I'll take this and the whole rig with me.
You didn't know
I'll drag you all to hell.
you didn't know you were a shield, did you? All right.
So we're talking about the coarseness of sand.
There was coarseness. There was sand. The flower, the beautiful flower. You held up a sign of freshness and life that was not seen often by the leaden Minotaur. And while he was afraid, he's now got his attention on this thing, which to him almost glows a little bit. It has such a special meaning to him. He says nothing, but he has stopped the shivering and he has stopped the whimpering.
Do you want to show us what you wanted to show us?
He holds out his little hoof.
Oh.
And he takes it and he holds it next to his face. No, not yet.
Okay, that's okay. You can take your time.
I'm already going to be in so much trouble. You're not the nice people that I thought you were. I thought my brother checked you out. He's the smart one.
Oh.
He totally, he did let us.
Val just holding back a laugh.
Oh. I don't know anything about this.
You gotta do it. You gotta do it.
He did let us pass.
That's not direct.
I can't even understand why he would do that to you good people. But then... but you're not good people.
Can I sneak by at this point as he's like...
Oh, you can do anything you want. He is not paying attention.
I want to continue down the path he was, because it's very clear we're at a place that kind of has stalactites and mites and all the kind of ites.
And some
Very
tights.
Orby.
It seems very much like... It's very clear what direction should be gone, right?
Well, I'll describe to you what you see. You've come down the spiral staircase that was spiraling down
Right.
in a column of stone. You've come
Yeah.
out of an archway, and you're standing in what now looks like a room. It almost seems like a destination.
Is there a path, though?
Well, like a room, there's no one path. There seems to be... I guess at this point, I'm going to have you roll for perception. And I'm not... Normally it'd be nature check to look for trails and stuff. But we'll just do a regular old perception.
Don't you give me that look. Remember last episode?
I do remember last time. That's what the look was for.
Excuse me, that's why I brought it up. Jeez, it's just like, look of disapproval. You're being careful of my stuff.
That's why I brought up his tower of soda. I was afraid for you.
It's on... with soda and stuff like that, I'm left-handed.
You've developed that habit over time?
Absolutely. If you ever see me reach for a drink, if it's on my right side, I'll go... Alright, we're doing perception, right?
Yeah, we're going to... Instead of nature.
Damn, 10.
There are no distinct paths. It looks to you like a room that you could walk around in. Now, when I say room, I don't want you to think somebody's living room. I mean a large vaulted underground chamber. The floor is flat. The walls are irregular. But the whole thing is still in somewhat of a rectangular shape. Stalactites and stalagmites are attached to the walls. There's a few center columns made up of those as well. So as you're looking through, you're not seeing straight through, but you are seeing well. It's well lit with those torches I mentioned before at regular intervals around the inside of the room.
I know. I feel like the pillars are a good place to start going towards, at least.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like all I needed to really know is there's an obvious direction within the room that maybe you should be headed towards.
Yep.
That's all I need to know.
I would like you to picture a fantasy football field.
Like a football field in a fantasy world,
Yeah,
or a
that's
fantasy
the
football field?
No, the one where you've got players from different teams all competing for you to... No. Like a football
real
field
fantasy
in
football.
a fantasy... And then I want you to cut it in half. This room is giant in that sense. Underground cavern type giant. It's about the size of half of a fantasy football field. And the columns that you see are in the center, so to speak. Let's say there's 8 or 9, depending on when you walk, where they disappear and hide each other. A cluster of 8 or 9 near the center. Each one, they're about 5 or 10 feet away from the other.
I still want to keep going.
And you're doing a great job with that. You walk right now behind you. The whimpering that's not coming from the leaden Minotaur and the gentle soothing sounds coming from Jan and Tammy are fading in the distance as you walk towards that
okay,
center.
I don't need to roll then.
No.
I thought I was going to do a stealth check here.
He is in no way, shape, or form even paying attention to you.
Cool. So I'm just going to keep walking down, looking around.
You walk and walk and walk, and as you get closer to the stalactites, I'm now going to have you roll. You tell me, in what way are you looking at the stalactites as you walk?
It's not necessarily in the most observant way. It's more trying to figure out exactly what he was trying to show us. So we know it's a square room, so that means 4 walls. And that means it's either something at the end or something at the center. So Valandril's kind of just looking around to kind of figure out where he's going. He wants to head towards the center.
This one sounds so logical, I'm going to ask for insight.
Well, you're asking for all the wrong rolls.
Oh
Cocked.
no. Oh no.
That was cocked, thankfully. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We were saying insight, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
There we are. Nat 20. Cocked again.
Different one.
Nat 20. 15.
Oh, that's very insightful. That's very insightful.
Dirty 15.
Oh, either way.
Because it was a 17.
You've got -2 on your insight?
Anything wisdom related is not good.
Wah, wah. Well, you're youthful, so.
Yeah. It was actually planned that way.
That's it.
Intelligence and wisdom are like -1, -2.
He's got a lot to learn.
He does.
In this case, he was so incredibly insightful that even his slightly non-insightful tendencies were not enough to keep him from inciting the following. As you get towards the center, it's not the room that you start to notice and start to understand the layout of as much as it is the way the pillars are arranged. They are arranged in a way when you get closer that make a shape, a very distinct rectangle that has the 4 corners covered, and then the midpoint of each of what would be the sides of the rectangle. So you have a rectangle shape of columns made of stalactites and stalagmites in the middle of this. As you get closer, you notice what at first seems like a pillar in the very center. And it turns out that pillar is a dark hole. It's hard to tell if there's a ladder that leads down, but it's certainly a down
Without
direction.
question, I'm going to investigate the dark hole.
Are you going to walk directly up to it? Is that what you're doing?
Yes.
Yeah, well, you accomplish that. You walk right up to the edge, and when you look down, and there's light, and you've got dark vision. Mm-hmm. And with that, you're able to see down, and it's a circular well with bricks that are carved to have that circular curve on the inside, all the way down. A very clean well with a single steel ladder all the way down the side. And you see, even with the distance that you have, you see it disappear into the gloom.
There's nothing, it just vanishes after a certain bit.
It does. Nothing changes from that.
Let's see. Give me a moment here. I'm not gonna bust out something really cool and go ha ha. No. I gave that to Janet Tammy, so I don't have it. I do have a torch on me. In this event, Valandril looked down. He gets a little curious, but he's used to canopies and treetops. This is the same thing except subterranean. He's gonna light the torch, hold it, and drop it down. And he wants to wait and listen to see if he hears it hit some kind of base.
So this will be slightly different. We're going to use investigation this time.
Sweet. Is that wisdom based?
Uh-uh.
No! And I'm specialized in it, so I actually get a modifier. Woo! Cocked. Damn it. 14.
Obviously, that's better than average. It's not... There are things that are not revealed by that I can't mention because they're not revealed. But the things that were revealed...
Is that how revealing works?
Yeah, exactly. That's how 14s work. They make me wish they were 15s.
There we go.
Oh, okay. Shockingly, you see exactly the same thing. The torch falls, and I think everybody can picture what that looks like when light is falling and passing. It's illuminating the tube as it goes down. The first thing that you notice is that it intervals, not behind the ladder, but opposite the ladder. Openings occur. Opening. You count maybe 4 of them before the torch hits the ground and goes out. The sound that you hear is, and it fell a long way, but a torch has a lot of flame, and you were intentionally listening.
Natural curiosity makes Valandril wants to go down, but now that he's seen those little intervals, he's thinking trap. Potentially. So he's kind of weighing pros and cons right now. But you know what they say about the youth of the world? Ain't exactly the brightest. So he's choosing to go down the ladder.
And Valandril was never seen again.
So a special kind of splitting the party, the elusive double split. All right.
This is a triple split.
Well, let's leave you at the edge of that pit, and
To be
you
continued.
caring for the heartbroken leaden minotaur. I will tell you that you are a little bit relieved to see that the clover flower meant that much to him, and you probably even resolved to make sure that flowers like that are things that you're going to keep on hand. You never expected it to be so useful. Back up at the top of the tower at the second level, I believe there was a comfortable bed on the ground on a pallet. Mm-hmm. I believe there was a chest, and I believe you guys have already recounted the just nail biter of a lockpick.
Yeah.
Fail, succeed.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that was terrible.
But you made it.
Yeah.
And last you saw, you were looking in a case that held a case that had runes on it that you recognized. Mm-hmm. I would probably say before you begin to do anything, you would both be looking at it. So let's do, as you investigate, let's do an investigation check where you both roll and we take the highest one.
Okay.
Yay.
Okay.
Mine sucks.
Oh no! Why you gotta do me like that?
Anybody can be a winner.
What'd you get?
11.
So I have to match 11, I have to roll 14.
Wow.
Nat 20, nat 20!
I got 13.
Oh,
Roll a 16.
Okay.
It wasn't that bad.
Well,
Could be worse.
yeah, you've hit average and slightly above, which for what we're doing here, using our eyes to look at a thing, you nailed it. You've looked at a thing, and you've even recognized it for what it is. You can't travel for almost 72 hours, just a few terrifyingly short hours away from 72 hours, and not have thought about this object and speculated on what the color, what the material would be when you finally get a hold of it. Well, you're holding it. You're looking at it, I should say. The outside is a black metal, a burnt black metal. And etched into it, when the letters that cut into the black metal leave a copper bronze kind of a shine to them. And the runes are cut in at that area. And from the outside, you see a seam that runs all the way across. And you even find a place where there's a latch. And on the opposite side, hinges. But just so you know, they're not like crappy hinges. This is a very fine box. And the hinges on it are inset and beautiful.
Nice.
Alright, so it's in a pretty box.
It's in a box in a box. So you've opened the case,
chest,
and
and
now you
there's-
have access
yeah.
to the.
I'm definitely gonna like run my hand along it. Just like feel it.
I mean, okay. You do that. You touch it.
So You touch it, and this isn't a bad thing, but I do need a Constitution save.
Shocks the crap out of you.
No.
Blows you backwards across the room. Oh, man.
It only has to not suck.
Insta-kill.
Well, I have a +2,
Insta-kill.
so at worst I could get a 3.
Not one.
That'd be pretty bad, though.
Yeah,
that'd be a
that
1.
one. So,
Oh, man.
1.
oh, I didn't get a 1. I got a 2
Nice.
for a total of 4.
Yeah. 4.
How much do I lose,
4.
like sanity points?
No. This is more just some bad luck that opens up a different set of things that may or may not have happened, but they just happened. All at once, you hear a voice in your head, and you feel a tightness around your throat.
Oh,
And the
shit.
voice in your head says, "The field around you's weakened, and it seems that you've arrived."
Oh,
And then the tightness in your throat is released. You take no damage, but your bracelet is now essentially operating at like 15%.
Oh, I drained that battery quick.
oh no.
So first thing, I get out. I'm like,
YouTube open.
don't touch the case. Do not touch the case.
Now you think.
Just a pretty case. Did you think that when I touched it, I was gonna get Sebastian talking in my head? My bracelet's gonna become less useful?
Look, I
That was
knew
definitely not what I connected.
nothing good comes from opening a chest.
I wasn't gonna open it. I just ran my fingers along it. I wanted to feel it.
Nothing good comes from touching a chest that apparently holds a weapon strong enough to destroy the entire world.
Well, I didn't
No.
think that was gonna happen. I can't connect that many dots. But how
You're
do we?
supposed to be the
I'm supposed to be the
isn't your
sneaky one.
meta
not the
knowledge.
intelligent one.
I was gonna say meta knowledge. Isn't your intelligence like -3 or something?
My intelligence is 5, so it gets a -3.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I might
no,
I might
he's
not
really
be playing my
not.
character
Maybe
very
you need
well
to be a
because he
little
should probably.
stupider.
Oh yeah, he should be.
I didn't pay attention to that at all.
I might.
So
I
much
don't
more
know if you
fun.
like can speak, bro.
I know that's very like
We're- you-
barbarian level.
Also, just FYI, normally when I roll, I don't let anybody have a number that low. So we'll adjust you. We'll adjust you off camera.
Okay.
Your intelligence will rise up to where it's been roughly this whole time.
Okay, yeah.
So -2.
Yeah.
-2. Yeah, there you go.
Anyways, after that, I'm like, do we just close the chest and carry that then? Like,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not gonna move this thing. We're not
Yeah.
gonna touch it. We're not gonna
Yeah.
try and open it. We are gonna take this whole thing and leave with it.
Another question: how do we get it back to Balazar? Which one was it?
Not Balazar. We're not taking it to him because he's gonna
How do
take it
we
right
get
back to Sebastian.
how do we get it back to Arjon with the limited amount of time we have left?
Well, I guess
There's
we gotta-
also there's still more floors to this tower. I still
guess
want to
we
go
gotta-
up.
Yeah, well, yeah, but I guess we gotta run really fast.
You can come back.
No.
A mysterious voice comes out and says,
Floats up from the basement.
"Don't be idiots."
Don't be stupid right now.
This isn't a trick question, but it'll reveal the information that you're about to find out. Who picks up the case, or how do you begin to move the case?
Each of us.
I flip the chest lid closed,
Mm-hmm.
like the outer chest, and kind of test it to move it around, wiggle it around, see how heavy it is.
Okay,
From the outside straps.
That's the information you needed. As you try to move it, you realize that it's a rather hefty collection of boxes and boxes and boxes, or orbs and boxes and boxes.
Nuts.
And the whole thing weighs about 75 pounds. You guys are strong. I mean, you're packing a lot of weight, but this isn't the kind of thing you sling over your shoulder and run downstairs with necessarily.
Right.
I'll grab a handle.
This is that heavy,
Each of us
awkward
grab
couch
a
you regret telling your friend you would help him move.
Yep. Been there. All right.
Well, now we gotta go down all those stairs again.
You want to go back down, or do you want to run up and see what's up? I love how you just totally just
Just sprint upstairs
totally
real
just
quick.
dropped that on my foot. Thanks, man.
No, you're holding it, so it just landed next to my foot. So, just like a quick sprint, just a quick.
Yeah, we're just gonna duck
Okay,
up, look
okay.
around, because there was someone in that window.
There was. So let's go.
Let's go. We're gonna sprint up stairs real fast and then come back down and get this thing.
Okay. You sprint together, and who's first in the lead? Who's the one that...
Who's fastest? How do you determine
We would either roll initiative if you want to do it that way. But usually,
I mean, do
this
you
is
want to just
just
like rock, paper, scissors it? Actually,
Yeah.
I'm normally rear guard, so
Oh.
I would never be in first anyway.
That's fair, and I'm too stupid to realize that being
Yes.
in front is a dumb idea.
Absolutely.
So, I'm like, let's go! And
the
you're like,
order is decided, so I'm just like, okay, fine. I have to protect my stupid friend.
Dice would have been a little...
Gremlin cat.
I love her.
Oh,
Is she destroying everything?
yeah.
She's a trash goblin. I love her.
Look at that.
Look at this. She's so offended. I called her a trash goblin and she got offended.
She had a goblin look. She was like,
For people who don't know, there's a cat off screen.
yeah, sitting with the production team.
You can see more about Bindi on our Twitter account at Campfire Quest, on Twitter,
Hey!
Yeah.
including the trash goblin.
I'm with her.
Bindi the trash goblin.
A mess. All right. Instead of rolling for dice, which would have been unnecessary, this is just a marching order thing, and you
Yeah.
guys worked it out verbally the way that would work.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Big dumb. Usually rear guard.
Small dumb,
Oh,
large but somehow intelligent.
I was calling myself big dumb, but I'm shorter than everyone else,
Yeah, you are.
and a small dumb.
Small dumb.
It doesn't even matter a whole lot who goes first, because it's not like there's blades trying to cut your head off and arrows flying through the air.
Yeah.
This time. Instead, what you find is a easy to traverse spiral staircase that takes you up to the top level, what seems like the top level.
Okay.
And when you get there, it dumps out into a single room. Up until now, you've had these walkways of different widths around the staircase. This one opens right up. I guess picture a hole in the ground that you could fall in and then tumble down the
Yeah.
stairs. There's no like safety rail or anything.
Yeah.
You just step up and you're in a top chamber.
As one does.
This time, yep, as one does. And in this particular chamber, you find a very nice bed. This one is off the ground, raised, and it's filled with something very cushy. And it's
Fantasy memory foam.
fantasy memory foam. It's got those beautiful gold sheets with the fantasy 3,000 thread count or whatever that is.
Yeah.
It's a very nice bed, and next to it is a chest. Then it looks like it has drawers in it, like this is where somebody sleeps and keeps their clothing. The thing that I would ask you to roll for, and we could do this the same way because you both jump up there. This is just a perception.
Okay.
You're perceiving the room.
You perceive that a man is about to punch you in the face.
Right. Can I,
25.
Bruh!
Nat 20.
I had like
Plus my
an 8.
5.
Congratulations.
Yes.
You should definitely start with the nat 20.
Yeah.
That's the important
That's-
one.
Yeah.
The fact that you get to add the plus 5 is just gravy.
Yeah.
Great.
Oh. There we go.
What?
Pizza and chicken showed up.
Pizza
Hey.
and chicken.
Yeah.
Goblin cat, you want some chicken?
Oh,
Guess what?
Bendy.
Must eat chicken.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
So we're not going to go on break immediately, but I guess it just got here a little sooner.
Give it like 30 minutes.
Yeah. Got to let the chicken settle.
Calm down before.
It's probably good that you perceive this because it will answer a question for you, and there doesn't have to be this mystery. It's a small question.
Oh.
The room that was occupied, that you're in, had been occupied within the last 20 minutes or so. The thing that gives this away to you is that there is a document that's being written on the table, and the ink and the well and the quill that are on it are still wet enough that you could get ink on your finger. Somebody has just been writing, and for some reason, evacuated the room they were in.
Alright, I want to read the thing.
Okay. Without any problem, because it's in common, you pick it up,
Okay.
and I don't have it to hand to you. Sorry. But you read it in your head.
Yes.
Yep. It says, "Dear Sebastian, I received your last batch of vials. You are a vile man, and I hope that you rot in each of the 7 hells. Love, Lady P.
Okay. I ask her, I'm like, hey, what does that say?
I read it to him.
I'm like, I start like, I'm like, okay, so hold on.
Wait, where is she?
I don't
she
know,
just
that
left.
that ink is fresh.
Where is she?
And we've been on the only stairs. Unless...
There's
And
a
then I
secret
start like
staircase?
touching walls and stuff like secret passages.
Yeah, that's good. You should roll for an investigation.
Great, suck
I
at that.
actually turn around and I'm like, all right, would it help to say that we're not here to hurt you?
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, we don't want to hurt you. We heard a lot about you. We're on your side, I think.
I think. What my friend is trying to say is that we didn't.
No way!
Wait, what?
Did you roll a nat 20? Bruh!
But -3, so 17.
It's still an nat 20.
I know.
It doesn't matter.
Okay, then two
I'm gonna cry.
two sets of activities. I'm not gonna. That's not fair. Roll for persuasion.
Balls. Ugh.
So she's somewhere in the room.
She's in the room!
If I was to not have you roll, then it would seem that way. I have to have you roll because if I don't, then I've told you whether she's there or not. So just because you're rolling doesn't mean she's there. I just want that out there.
Oh, because it's kind of like a...
Yep.
Gotcha.
I can't answer the question. I've got to. The charade has to be.
See, they're not cursed
maintained.
dice.
No, they're not. Occasionally, they do good.
Yeah,
gotta-
you just have to treat them right.
19.
My dice are treated expertly.
I wonder how it's gonna be next week.
Don't.
Hey,
Nice, Mark.
A small desert mouse emerges from behind a corner of the dresser, and looks up at you,
Oh, that's so cute.
and then scurries back behind and away.
Stomp on it!
But
That's probably her. She might be wild shaping.
Yeah, stomp on it! She'll turn back into a person! Sorry, I'm not there.
I believe that you're downstairs
Yeah, no,
trying
you're right, you're right. That's why I'm
Dealing with a
being
minotaur?
so
You've
I'm
done
like-
enough damage already.
You made a minotaur cry.
Oh no!
Trying to make Lady
no,
Prosperity
Jam.
hate us?
Hey, does that count as like a short rest? Like, sitting with that bro?
No,
It's like 10 minutes.
you're putting a lot of effort into it. It's rather strenuous for you.
I see the
Back to you.
I see the mouse and I'm like, I sit down on the floor and turn kind of like sideways to the dresser so I'm not like facing it head on. Please just let the mouse be a mouse. That would be
I
absolutely
want it for
fair.
comedy
Like
purposes.
I'm just talking to a mouse, but
She
Quinn,
comes up from
Quinn
behind
is
us like,
totally
"What are you
just
doing?"
like she's they were
Wild
talking
shit.
about her being this
Yeah.
lady that's very mysterious. She might be a shapeshifter. Oh my gosh, I have to try. So like Quinn sits down,
Yeah.
like kind of has her side facing the dresser, while Monolith is poking around trying to find the secret entrance
Do I
that
see
she's
the
probably
mouse?
already escaped out of.
Do I?
Yeah.
Do I see the mouse?
You did
Okay.
briefly, and then it went back behind the dresser.
Okay.
The actual real mouse went back in its little hole and left.
There's just a mouse.
You will not see that particular mouse again. You can think whatever you want about it, but it's now gone.
Okay.
I take out a little like piece of bread or something and I set it out just for the mouse, just just in case. Maybe it's a fake mouse. Maybe it's Lady Prospera mouse. If it's Lady Prospera, she probably won't go for the bread, but it'll be a sign of my amicability.
Goodwill.
Yes.
All right. So what do you
That was the
rolled
one
a-
thing, and then
Yeah.
you rolled a beautiful.
Beautiful nat 20, dirty 17, but it doesn't matter because it's a nat 20. Investigating for secrets.
So this is rather cool. It's cool because even Lady P, and you have no way of knowing how long she's been in this room or how long she stayed here, even she's never discovered this little hidden cubby
Wow.
for maybe the last 100 years has remained undisturbed.
Whoa!
Nobody's been up here and rolled a 20, let's just say.
Some vintage health potions.
Yeah, right.
Bruh.
Gotta drink
These
it.
are practically
Health
brown.
Expired.
When did these expire? 300 years ago?
Oh! Perfect.
So in this case, there's not going to be
Pulsation.
anything for you to open because what happens is you locate as you're running your fingers along those seams. You locate. Most people wouldn't do this because the cobwebs. It's under there that you locate something that
I didn't
moves,
notice the cobwebs.
and it accidentally. You didn't mean to flip it. Flips, and the wall that you're standing in front of goes. and you are looking at actual shelves that have items on them. And there are the following items.
Just for character's sake, like the moment the door opened, I was like, "Oh, cool, a door." And then the moment I saw items, like it wasn't even a conscious thought. I just was like,
Just shove his entire head in there.
sprinted to them, and I was like,
Well, you're gonna love this pair. This is a pair of boots, and they're specialty boots, and you would not know the kind of boots they were, but they actually have a label on the side. These are designer.
"Gucci."
No, these are Usain boots, and they are incredibly fast, and they come with a couple extra benefits to them.
Oh
I read it
wow!
out
This
loud?
just happened.
You may, because this is something that is sitting with the boots. They apparently
Okay.
have never been worn.
So I check the boots and I pull these out and I'm like, "Oh my goodness, Quinn, get a load of this. The Usain boots. When wearing the boots, you automatically match the speed of the fastest member of your party, or 1.5 times normal speed as an individual. 24 hours of attunement to wearer, 48 hours of attunement to the group or party. As a bonus action, you can click your heels together and you get 10 minutes of +5 to acrobatics."
No way.
Wait, so my character isn't saying all that. He's just reading off it's a description that isn't as technical.
Yeah.
This can be done 2 times before long rest is needed. But in like actual D&D, he's like, "Oh, they make you go real fast, and everybody around you also pretty fast."
They gotta go fast boots.
Yeah, the
All
Sonic
right.
boots.
Oh
Sanic.
wow, the Sanic boots. Oh wow,
So
I can't believe that just happened.
there's
I
a
wish-
pair of Usain boots, and
My
next
boots
to that,
off. My boots gone. Those are on.
there are a pair of goggles. These are called. You don't know what these are called. They're just goggles.
Are they?
And-
Wait, I have a pair of night vision goggles. Do they look similar to those?
They look very similar, and if you had somebody,
Do you have dark vision?
Yeah.
What do you need the night vision goggles for?
I picked them up off a goblin.
Oh,
like,
right,
what do you
right,
want from me?
Right.
if you had somebody investigate these goggles, you could find out what they're capable of later. But these don't have the same kind of labels that the
Okay.
boots had.
I picked them up and I add them to the stack of goggles already up my neck.
I want to investigate those goggles. I'll do that later.
Okay.
I want to keep hearing about this loot.
The last thing that you find, it looks like one thing, but it's actually 2 of them that are leaning together, and they are pouches. They are little bags. These have a piece of paper attached to them as well. They look like they were brand new, purchased from the magic maker that created them, and they are...
Magical component pouches. And again, this is translated.
Right, yeah.
It says, but it's black leather satchels, open from a front flap and store all the needed magical ingredients for the magic users who owns and stocks it when it is empty. Pouch must be stocked with 1 of each ingredient each time new spells are learned, grows each level. So I tossed that to Quinn. I'm like,
Okay.
I don't need that.
All right. Oh, okay.
Here, wait, I'll toss you that as well.
Okay. Thank you.
As with anything, you can use it, sell it, find a way to use it, but that in
Boil it
particular
up,
makes it so you don't have to
stew.
be as meticulous with keeping up with the ingredients that you need for your spells.
Right.
All right, so that empties out the dusty little cupboard that you found. It looked like it was whoever lived in that tower had a secret little dresser where they kept their special things, and you found it. That finishes the investigation of that room. You guys are still up there with the beautiful bed and the beautiful dresser?
Yeah. Is there a window? Can I look out the window? Like,
Yeah,
are there like bed curtains tied to the windowsill or something?
They're all the windows are completely open. You can look out. I think there's 4. There's 4 rectangular windows one facing in each cardinal direction.
Okay. I will look out each window and see if I can see anyone, like, hanging off the side of the tower or something, because I don't know where else she would have gone.
Right.
Quinn looked out the window. Quinn, roll for perception.
Oh no. Okay.
Oh no.
How'd you do?
An 8.
Oh.
I have an 8. Can I, do I have inspiration or anything? Can I ask him to help me look?
Maybe I see her looking and I go look as well.
Okay. This will be okay if you tell me which of the 4 directions you were looking, so then that'll dictate. I'm going to still randomize that. I'm happy to give you a chance to have somebody roll that again.
Okay.
But were you looking north, south, east, or west?
I was looking out the window that faces the lake.
The lake's all around you. You're on an island in the middle.
Yeah. Sorry.
That's a big window.
No, yeah.
What? I missed it.
Every once in a while I do that, so don't
Ah.
punch him instead.
Gotcha.
It's an alternative to violence.
And it makes me just as awkward.
Has the same effect.
It really does. If anything, worse.
Worse, yep. So, okay, so I want to look out the window that we saw when we were walking towards the tower. So we looked up at the top of the tower and we saw movement at the window. I want to look out that one.
That's the one you rolled the 8 on.
Yes.
Okay. That was the north window.
Okay.
Which window do you want to look out of?
I'll look out the south window. Since she's looking at that one, I figure she's got it.
Yep, nope, that gave you a 25% chance for something to happen. So now you can go ahead and roll your perception roll. You've gone 20-20, so I'm just assuming this is going to be a 20.
Can't believe you
Jinx
said
it.
that.
Gotta not jinx it. Dirty 20.
Hey!
Hey!
15 to a 20.
All right.
That was very fortunate. That was very fortunate. I mean, I don't know if you want to know when things are coming, but something's coming.
Okay.
In the distance, and this is maybe the opposite of the direction you came, but remember, you came on an offshoot set of tangents that took you here. This looks like somebody who's coming directly from the port where you left and not taking any side routes. And you don't necessarily see individuals. You see a growing cloud of dust and sand behind what looks like either a team of riders or a team of riders with wagons, or maybe it's a herd of buffalo, but there's a lot of something. It's coming
15
towards
seconds
you.
of buffalo.
And that's a lot of buffalo.
It's better
lot
than
of
15
buffalo.
seconds of bats.
I
Yeah.
would take the bats. The
I'd
buffalo
take the
trample
bats.
you.
Yeah, they can't trample you to death.
The cloud
They
of
can give you
smoke,
greatness.
I mean, this cloud of dust and sand gets bigger and bigger. And if you were taking a guess, and with that 20, you'd make a pretty good guess, you'd say they look like they might still be 1.5 miles off. For a stampeding group of warriors, 45 minutes? An hour? They got to get across a lake after that, but
Yeah.
close.
And the guardian of the lake is tied up.
I'm just gonna start yelling out of random windows. Hey, Lady P, if you're still here, maybe we should leave, and maybe you would have a better chance of surviving in a big group. So, I don't want to
guess.
alarm you, but we may have brought bad news with us.
Please help. I don't think I can fight that many buffalo.
Please help. I don't know if we can fight that many buffalo together. So we promise we're not here to hurt you. Promise we're not on anybody's side that's trying to hurt you.
I pinky promise with both my pinkies.
I don't trust him to pinky promise, but I pinky promise.
Don't you do that to me in front of people.
You tried to steal someone's necklace
Everybody
and
but me
ripped it
tried
up
lying.
into-
Everybody but me tried lying to a very nice Minotaur.
Look, I walked past him. I didn't say a damn thing.
Exactly. Rude. I didn't. I kept conversing.
Can I enter this conversation so I can walk out of it?
No.
I'm just like calling out of random windows since apparently all my rolls are crap.
After we shout for Lady P, I'm like, okay, if she shows up, she's magic, she can find us. We gotta go.
We gotta go, like now.
And you should. I was going to have you roll insight really quickly before you step out the door.
Okay.
Just leave all the dice in there. It gets angry when it wants to be with its family.
I think that's a 16. Yeah, that's a 16.
I got a dirty 19.
Okay. So
it was an insight roll.
both of you spent a little bit of time calling out for Lady P. One of you even spent the time taking that breadcrumb and crumbling it up near the hole, hoping that she'd come back out if it was her.
Yeah.
And by the end of that, you both get the distinct impression that that was not her and that she's not in the room either.
Okay.
That's the insight that you take away from your insightful
Was it,
look.
All
at
right.
me.
Did we both
let's
get that
go.
insight?
You have it a little bit stronger,
Okay.
but you both sense it.
So as I'm running down the stairs, my cheeks get a little flushed, like a little embarrassed, like, oh, there's nobody in that room. I'm an idiot.
Look, we had to try. Okay,
Yeah.
we had to, the ink was still wet. We had
Yeah.
to try.
All you got was boots and goggles and some pouches.
Yeah, we
I
got
also,
some cool stuff.
Dang, I'm the only person in the party that doesn't have dark vision, and nobody thought to give me some night vision goggles.
I didn't know you didn't have dark vision.
Well, now you metagame do.
Now I metagame do, but in game I still don't.
So when we
Gonna have to tell me.
when we divvy up the loot and everything, I'll be like, hey, what are those goggles for?
Okay.
We'll survive.
Yeah, if we survive. That's a
Of course,
big,
of
that's
course.
a big if. Okay.
And you're holding a pair as well.
All right, here we
I
go.
am?
Yep, you received Usain boots, non-labeled goggles.
I got the
Oh,
goggles.
I thought she
I
had
put them on my neck.
Oh, I thought you already had a pair.
I do.
You do.
So now,
Now you
there are
have
two pairs of goggles
That's
bouncing
so
on my
cool.
neck.
I'm glad I can picture that now.
Yes.
That's even better. All right, you got all the
I was
goggles,
just kind of like, I don't know what that is.
goggles, pouches, and
Yes.
you're.
He has
What
boots.
did you do with the boots?
On my feet.
On your feet.
Hey,
The moment I
Plus.
read that card, I was like, pa.
So you've got 24 hours to attunement, right?
That's fantastic.
24 hours to group attunement or 48?
24 hours attunement to wear, 48 hours attunement to group.
Got it.
Quick question, what's attunement?
The shoes learn you.
You get to know them
Yep.
on a familiar level.
Yep.
Before you can use them.
I gotta take it to an Olive Garden. Get
You
an
gotta
endless
buy him,
breadstick
yeah,
basket.
buy him dinner first.
Yes.
Buy him dinner first.
That's good.
If we
idea.
survive.
If we
These are
survive.
like for these boots to a monolith are like Jordans to a sneakerhead. So I'm very like, as much as I'm panicked and running down the stairs, I'm like, oh, don't scuff the shoes.
Don't scuff the boots. Don't scuff the boots.
So you do an admirable job of running down from the top floor, and you make it back down to the level where
Minotaur's room.
the orb is.
Yeah.
At this point, I'm going to stop because you guys are soon going to decide what you're going to do next with that big heavy case. And I'm going to check in briefly with you. Is there anything that you and the Minotaur are doing that we should know about?
No, I basically just started talking to him about like back at the farm and stuff, and I
Life,
talked
love,
about all the
philosophy.
dandelion fields that I used to have.
Staring
back
at
at home,
and then they
staring
wanted to
past
teach
me
you how to
with the
love.
hay bales, and
Staring deeply into each other's eyes.
I'm just rubbing his back gently and
Aw.
like talking
He's
about
like,
my life at home and
Jam is
how I miss
true
them and
friend.
stuff.
He won't make eye contact, but he says to you, as the camera comes and pans back over to you, he says, well, your mother sounds like a very nice lady.
Thank you. She really is. I miss her so much.
He's about to
I would like to meet her one day. I would like to tell her that you seemed much nicer after I met you than you did at first, and I'm glad we had a time to talk. This flower smells great.
I'm glad you're enjoying it.
I was waiting for him to be like, your mother seems very nice. What happened to you?
Wow. Oh.
Waiting for it.
Yeah, right.
She's done such a good job of
Yeah.
soothing the scared beast that we've made it to the point where mother stories are being passed around.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Well, he's talking about his mom.
Yeah.
You know. She chose the gold minotaur. He was the favorite.
Always loved him. always.
I've never had siblings, but my mom did have a chicken that she liked so much that sometimes she would bring it into her bed and sleep with it, even though I would have to go sleep on my bed. I was like 5. She would prefer the chicken over me.
Oh no!
I just think about it sometimes.
Oh
It keeps me up at night.
no! Keeps me up at night.
I just
Cold
it's fine.
sweats.
We're fine.
That chicken sounds like my brother. I hate him.
She's half
hated
worker,
that
half
chicken.
chicken.
You know,
Bonding.
we're not exactly sure.
As the camera pans away from this touching moment, we go back to our final adventure,
Da,
who's
da, da, da.
perched over the dark well.
At this point, he's
Right when he gets warm.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure you've swung a leg over and you've started the descent.
Yeah.
All right. So the circle, as you step down into it and grasp onto the ladder, it's as your foot passes into the opening for the first time that down below you count 5 lights that come on in each of the black holes that you'd noticed, and they come on like all the way down.
Battlefields just gonna make a quick comment. That's cool.
Right. You guys don't have fluorescent lights in this world, so to see them come on in sequence like that is kind of cool. As they come on, though, they have the familiar flicker of torchlight, so whatever lit them, I don't know why it was in sequence, but something happened that made all those torchlights come on at once, fill up the dark holes, and now you are descending in what seems to be a well-lit pit. I imagine you just go down until you reach the first well-lit hole, and when you look over, you see that it's a tunnel that you could, holding on, you could lean across the hole, step into it, and you can see about 5 paces in, and then it seems to go right and left. Do you continue to go down?
Continue to go down.
You go down one more level to the next opening like that, and it looks exactly the same, but this one seems to only go to the right.
Is there more down?
You have 3 more lit holes beneath you before you get to the floor, which you haven't seen yet.
I want to see the floor.
So you keep walking?
Yeah.
Okay.
You kidding me?
Man.
As you go down to if you were counting 1, 2, the third stop at this place, you look in and you see what you saw in the first. This one goes back about 10 feet and then seems to have that T shape where you could go right or left, but you can't go forward anymore. And you continue to go down. And as you do, for the first time, it's not just about the light and the tunnels. Roll for perception, just plain old perception.
Boy.
I would use your passive, but I feel like you're in a situation where you're actively perceiving things.
I mean, are we talking about the other passive? The one that you absolutely hate and loathe and lament?
Yeah, we're just using your regular perception.
That would still active, though.
And what did you roll on your
Not yet. Hold on.
on your perception roll?
We're doing perception. 8.
So you continue down,
Thank you.
and you get to the fourth opening. This one is almost exactly the same as the second one, except instead of only going to the right, it goes to the left after a 10-foot walk. And you continue to go down.
Absolutely.
And it's at this point, when you are steps away from the final opening in this descent, that you can start to make out the floor beneath you. The thing that you see is your torch completely out and a bunch of shiny gravel. In your vision, you're not seeing it lit. You're seeing kind of a black and white rendition of this.
Right.
And it looks like, well, you know what? The most thing, it looks like the bottom of a stream bed. The bottom of a stream bed with clear water running across some rocks. That's down below you, and you'd get to it if you continued down. As you take 2 more steps or rungs, you look back, and this time the tunnel, if you stepped across, and if you fell, you'd still fall about 10 feet. But this is the last entrance into the side of the well. If you went in here, this looks like it goes back 20 feet or so, and it doesn't seem to turn. I mean, it doesn't seem to have a hard turn. It seems to angle, and it disappears as a slow bend to the right. And you can't see past about the, what did I say, 20-foot mark is what it is.
So many options. I don't know. I'm going down. I'm going all the way down.
You make it all the way to the last rung or so, and you are still 3 feet above the ground beneath you. It's right beneath you where there's an opening in the side of the well, and water seems to be coming in. Water then leaves in another opening just to the side of it. If you were to drop down to the ground, the only opening is not a lit one. It's if the ladder's on this side and the holes are on this side, then your new opening is in the perpendicular direction,
Right.
and it's not lit. You have so many options. I'm not going to say anything until you.
Yeah, it's not even. So, with night vision, it allows him to, not be too afraid of the fact there's no torches.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to go to the bottom. He's going to take that 3 foot, just kind of hop off, start going down with the water.
Okay, when you splash in the water, see Constitution save. That's what we're going to roll.
Oh boy. Good luck.
Cocked.
Sneezing dog.
7.
Oh, bless you.
Okay.
Relax.
As the water hits your feet and splashes up all over your ankles and your calves, and soak into your breeches, for a moment you
That's
feel
water.
for a moment you feel a numbness, and then the numbness and an odd sensation begins to climb up your person until it gets to the point where it's almost at your neck, and you start to say, "Whoa, whoa," and even that stops and seems to freeze, and then your whole body tips over and floats on the water.
Stop!
And it carries you into the opening,
That's cool.
and it flows
no, it's
away
not.
into the darkness.
Oh no!
And you begin to flow completely immobilized on centimeters of water. You're floating on the surface.
That's still cool.
And that's where we're going to stop, because I can't. The fried chicken and the pizza are killing me. So
Oh, don't you do that.
we're gonna go on break, and we'll be right back in hopefully 12 minutes or however long it takes me to completely debone a chicken.
A+. Oh
I
wow.
gotta pluck its feathers.
Oh wow.
It's happening? All right, let's eat. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Campfire Quest. I hope that your weekend has started off well. Ours started off with a combination fried chicken and pizza. I'm not sure if there's another way to start a weekend. That seems to be it. But, we're willing to try out different combinations and see what works best. For now, last we left, our very, very good friend. I don't know if you know about his character arc, but he started out as an angsty teen, and he's traveled quite a bit. He's grown quite a bit. And now he's gonna die. Now he's fallen completely paralyzed. And he's floating away into the darkness. But don't fear, he's got night vision. And so as he floats and he's looking up at the ceiling that's a few feet away from him, he can make out the rough-hewn rock as it slowly travels past.
Do you require life alert?
Tries to shake free, tries to speak. Nothing works. And through the darkness, he continues to float. And for a while, even with his night vision, he gets the sense that people in deprivation chambers get, sensory deprivation chambers, where it seems like he's floating through space all by himself. Especially the feeling of not being able to move in the middle of it all. End over end, tumble over tumble. You can't tell if what you're seeing is 2 feet away or 2 miles away, and you can't reach out to touch it. And slowly the wall starts to sparkle like stars. Maybe it is space, the way the sparkles begin to pick up the light. Oh, the light. There seems to be a light that you're drifting towards, and that's what the sparkles are causing.
He's tripping balls right now.
No, I just keep thinking of the scene from Always Sunny when Dennis goes in the deprivation chamber and he starts talking to himself. And he comes to a realization he thinks he's God. That's where my mind is right now.
Yeah. Well, maybe Valandril's mind went there as well. It's entirely possible, because it's about 15 seconds of floating, and that's a lot of floating.
Yeah.
No, you float for several minutes. I do want to emphasize, though, that you lose your sense of time, and it's not a magical spell as far as you can tell. It's just this disoriented sense. You're not floating in a way that would make it feel like you're floating in a river, too. That's something that would make this seem more familiar. You're floating on the very top of the water, almost on the air itself in some cases, and it's just moving you towards, well, this light. Now that the light's beginning to fill the chamber and you're moving closer and closer towards it, the little bit of movement you have in your eyes allows you to try and take in what's coming. And then she comes into view. She floats directly into view. She's not floating, it's you. I want you to imagine you being the canoe in this situation, because you're the canoe facing upright, and you're floating head first downstream. And as a canoe with no paddler, you just coincidentally float right up to what seems to be a dock, a raised wooden platform right in the water, and it's here. And from your vantage point, she seems so tall. You look up and you see a figure dressed in brilliant silver. The reflections that you're seeing on the walls around you seem to be emanating not from a light source, but from her. Maybe it's her clothing or her herself, but there's a sheen, an aura around the sheen, and it's almost intoxicating. And you'd like to say something about it when you come to rest at her feet, but you can't. Until she speaks to you and says, "Well, hello. Look who's floated to see me." You probably are having a hard time speaking right now, and that's because I'm pretty good at what I do. You're probably going to also find that you have a hard time lying to me. You'll feel, and it is true, that you are absolutely compelled to tell me the truth. So as I release your mouth, I want you to answer one question. What are you doing in my river?
Is the mouth released by now?
Yes.
Shrek on stream.
Yes.
You're now released.
Well, gotta say this wasn't intentional. I mean, it might have been intentional. I did go down a ladder. But I'm down here kind of looking for some things. There's a minute. Hold on. I got an idea for this. So it all started when I ended up leaving my home, right?
Yeah.
I ended up going on a ship, and then that ship was taken down by a kraken, and whatever just happened, everything got destroyed. I ended up going with a half-orc and another half-elf. We were on Driftwood for about 2 days, then we ended up on a desert island, and while we were there, she ended up taking a lizard, beating another lizard to death with it. This was the half-elf, by the way. This was after we ended up going over the quicksand. Well, after all that, we ended up grabbing a piece of treasure, which teleported us to a magical dungeon. In that magical dungeon, we ended up finding a guy named Spanky, who was way hypersexual, and was really weird. And then there was also Monolith. That was we can go on a tangent about this guy, but that's not the question you asked me. You're asking why we're at the lake or at the river, and I'm answering that for you. So, anyways, they grabbed the bar and ended up electrocuting it. We used it to electrocute some lizards. Ended up eating there. Then some guy named Sebastian was just like, "Hey, you guys want to do something for me?" Wait, I skipped the whole part where we were actually in the mine. That's actually not important though. So, anyway, Sebastian ends up telling us, "Hey, by the way, we want you to go on a quest." So after we were on the quest, we ended up going all the way down. I got a little mad because Jan and Tammy wouldn't accept my friendship. Jan and Tammy's a half-orc, by the way. And then what ended up happening was we went to a house, there's a ghost there. I ended up passing out due to blood magic. There was this ogre thing elemental down in the cave, so we ended up coming back up, going back down. We ended up crossing after I so brilliantly decided where the ship was. Then we ended up killing a couple dragons going across, ended up taking a little break at an oasis. We ended up talking to a woman. She stole my water. I'm still kind of pissed about that. And then we ended up talking to some golden minotaur. Jan and Tammy turned into a giant spider, whipped him up in a web. We ended up crossing the river. Then a bunch of octopi came in and attacked us. They went up the stairs. We went down. I ended up exploring here, and then I ended up getting paralyzed, come down, and now I'm before you. Hi.
Well, you say you skip some tangents. Don't leave anything out. What else? 4 hours later.
Yeah.
Well, that's quite an adventure, and I'm not surprised in the least that you'd made it to the island, considering what brave adventures you're traveling with, it, from your description at least.
All except Monolith, you know.
You suddenly can't speak?
How dare you! He's a very brave adventurer.
They're like brothers now.
He's squeamish.
She says, so I heard a few key words that I needed to hear. The most distasteful to me was Sebastian. Yes. It's clear to me that he has you forced is such an ugly word. He's probably encouraged you to go on this trip. There's actually something you probably don't know, and that's that when he's using his particular form of blood magic, he can't force you to do anything. That's why you had to agree. So, now that you're here, and now that you're at this position where you have to decide what to do next, what do you think you and your friends want to do?
Well, we ended up meeting a guy named Arjon, right? And he was telling us that. Long story short, we have basically 3 options. We either give Arjon to Balthazar, we end up taking the orb, we end up destroying it, or we end up giving the orb over to Sebastian, which neither of us really want to do, but you know.
Oh, Arjon. He's still out there. And Balthazar, you say, yes, that makes sense. That makes sense. He's been hunting Arjon for a long time. Well, you've made it this far, but I clearly am not going to be able to allow you to finish your quest. You shall not be returning this orb to Sebastian.
That's not what we're trying to do.
What are you trying to do?
We're trying to destroy it. Like, we have 3 options, but we all decided that destroying it was absolutely going to be the best option. Because who wants to give an orb to an entirely magical madman? Nobody does. I don't even want to. Why am I talking so much?
It's probably the spell. I like my truth tellers to be as talkative as possible. But before you tell me any more of your truths, hold on. Who told you could destroy the orb?
Oh, Arjon did. It was actually pretty helpful. He came out, he ended up destroying a bunch of orbs, we were like, whoa! Then we ended up, we thought he was an alcoholic at first. He ended up drinking a bunch of water. But then he ended up telling us it was possible to destroy the orb, so that's why we took the Hearthstone into the...
Arjon told you this, I see. Was he playing the old sad drunk part? He does that sometimes. Yep. I tell you, between Sebastian and Arjon, they're both a couple of jackasses, but at least Sebastian is trying to fix the problem. Arjon still wants to destroy the world. The number one problem that I have is being able to find people that I can trust. I have all of these different people coming, and the stories and the lies they use to get them to jump through hoops. I just don't even know where to put this anymore. When combined with the other elements, it becomes an unstoppable weapon. I can't let that happen. I'll tell you what.
It's a jacket.
Based on what I've seen, your friends could use your help. There's something going on upstairs you should know about. And while she's talking, your body begins to float like this. If you truly want to help, and if you truly want this to be off your shoulders, bring your friends. And I think you'll find the orb's already been located. Bring that as well. And you begin to float in the darkness. And this time, she does not release anything. This time, as you float, you get the same sensation, but you're so preoccupied on what was said, you have a hard time getting back into that same wondrous feeling, and it's now a feeling of urgency. Not just from her words, but from the speed with which you're traveling upstream. Almost like a motorboat. You go from canoe to paddle boat to motorboat, and you reach the bottom of the well where you started, and a warming sensation begins right at your heart, and it pumps out every few seconds. Boom, boom. You get a little bit warmer. Boom, boom. And suddenly your shoulders are looser and moving. Boom, boom. Your neck, your abdomen, and your hips. Boom, boom. Oh, almost hands and feet. And another heartbeat, and you've got full movement again.
Couple deep breaths. Goes immediately to the ladder and tries to really hike up it.
All right, without any effort at all, because you've got all this stored energy from not having moved for like 5 minutes, you rocket up the stairs, and you emerge out of the pit, and from your vantage point in this torch-lit room that's half the size of a fantasy football field, you see Janet Tammy speaking to a much more, I don't want to say happy, but energetic leaden Minotaur. He's telling a story with his hooves like this, and you can't tell what he's saying, but you can see Janet Tammy. She's nodding, but you can tell that she'd like him now to quit talking because it's been getting a little much, and she's like,
well, regardless of what even's going on.
Yep.
Wow.
Valandrel goes running by, taps Janet Tammy on the shoulder. We gotta go. And he starts running up the stairs.
Go where? What are you even talking about?
I'll explain later!
The leaden Minotaur goes, what?
I guess I'll be right back.
Goes running up the stairs, past the point, obviously, where they came in, and he's going up now.
Okay. We're about to have the Scooby-Doo moment where everybody crashes together in the hallway, all in one big flop. No, there's no pain or no damage rolling or anything. I just remember that last we left the two looters, they were coming down rather quickly because they'd just seen a disturbing sight, and they were moving really quickly down to the second from the top floor. You, with Janet Tammy trailing behind you, still trying to get some information from you. Keep in mind, it took you a while because you had a lot of stairs to get up just to get to the first room. Excuse me. And then from there, continuing to go up. You guys all arrive in that same room together with what we assume to be the Minotaur's bed. Half of you coming down and half of you coming up, and all of you reaching that same little opening into the room at the same time and popping out. And now the four of you are standing in the room with the chest and a bed and stories to tell one another. In the distance, you hear leaden hooves on stairs coming up, and you might hear, guys? Guys? That's it.
So,
Valandril immediately like skids to a halt, sees the chest. That's the orb, right?
it is the orb. We gotta go.
Yeah,
There's
we
like a bunch of people.
We gotta go that way. He starts pointing down.
There's a bunch of people. Okay, there is a stampede of what appears to be warriors coming from the south.
There's a lady in white down there that's telling me everything we've been told to lie.
A
Lady
lady?
P?
Long story. I won't explain it now.
We should go. Follow him.
Okay,
Let's go.
Follow. Downstairs.
It's the woman that always tells the truth. Let's
Yeah.
go.
So, with the hopes of finding the person who wrote that letter who left the wet ink on the page, you guys begin to dash downstairs. I would need to know, just in case anything happens, the order that you're going downstairs in and who is holding and how you're holding which of the cases that we've talked about.
Valandril's in front, hauling ass.
Okay?
Rear guard.
I'm in rear guard as well because I'm holding half the
Yeah,
chest.
we're holding the chest. I'm holding the back of it.
I think you
I
guys
got
should
the
be in the
front of it.
middle. Right?
Cat door.
Uh-huh.
It sounds ominous, but you get used to it.
It was Gremlin Cat.
Well, now you got to be worried.
A trash goblin.
So, again, just to make sure I understand, I've got Valandril in the lead, probably by like almost 5 to 10 steps. Where the two of you holding the chest are at the back, or
Yeah.
are you behind them?
We're at the back.
I should be at the back so I can be like
Guarding?
Yeah, because you guys have a box.
That's
what
fair.
Are you gonna do?
That's unless you want to help
Drop it.
carry the chest and I can guard.
I could, but Jan and Tammy's just kind of standing around
All right.
confused because nobody's telling her what's
All
going
right,
on.
take it. The jam's in the rear then.
All right. I'm not going to make you roll strength, but I will ask you, Quinn, to remember that one of your arms is very strong and one of your arms is not.
No, I'm carrying it like this. I'm doing nothing with my left hand.
You got the right arm. And you guys were both happy to find the kind of handles on the side of the chest that you would expect to find for a chest that carries heavy things.
Yeah.
I got
All right, you're walking. Yeah, you're doing that. And the worst part is that every 4 or 5 steps, because of the way they go, you push forward and it hits you in the back of the ankles and it hurts. But you don't fall. You guys maintain. You're up the whole way. You're not going really fast, but you do begin to descend down. When you reach halfway down from where the original room was to the underground cavern room, about the halfway point from there, you meet the leaden minotaur coming up. And he first sees you, and he says, "You're going fast!" And then he sees you, and he says, "What's behind your back?" And then he says, "The orb! What are you doing?"
We're gonna take it to the lady in the well. You said he was
Oh
in a
wow,
well.
that's.
Did you say she was in a well? Like there was a lady?
In a hole.
Sort of.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'll say hole then, because I don't know it's a well.
We're protecting it. Long story. Tries to jump over him.
No,
I'm like-
no. Ho, ho.
If he like, is he kind of beside Monolith now because Valandril's already run past him? Like, where is he?
We've got 4 feet of width on the stairway going up and
Yeah.
going down. Valandril went right and he went left when they had their little interaction. And now Monolith is coming down with his elbows out because he's doing the behind the back thing. And he started to move over, and that's what exposed what was behind him.
Yeah.
So at this point, that's where the blockage is. So he's uphill, facing down towards the leaden minotaur, who's doing this a little bit.
Like trying to stop us?
He's trying to stop you with his...
Am I within reach? Am I like 5 feet away from him?
You're a chest away, right? You're holding the back end of the chest.
Okay. All right. Hang on tight.
Don't do it.
Look. I'm on the stairs above him. I'm just gonna reach out and kick him in the chest
Me?
and no, not you, the Minotaur, and send him tumbling backwards down the stairs.
Wait.
kill this guy.
Jack
I don't
Tammy,
care.
Spider.
Okay, then that's what you can do, and I know
But
there's
you
a
might
process.
trip because I'm not stopping, so you'll like have one leg in the air and you'll be like,
In any case, it's happened.
I have really high decks. It's
the-
fine.
The thing I'm working out in my head is not whether it's good or bad. it's whether behind him, while you're holding a chest going forward, you kind of have to hold the chest and then kick past him, or you're setting the chest down so you can step forward and take the kick. Both would work, but one seems a little more awkward.
If he can move past the Minotaur, like if there's space for him to get down the stairs, like if he's not stopping and he moves past the Minotaur, I'm just gonna dead leg him on my way past. But if we're stopped, I'm gonna put the chest down, move over a step, Spartan kick him, and then return to the chest and continue on.
He's such a wide specimen, he prevents the first scenario from occurring.
Okay. Spartan kick it is
Mono
then.
just cannot get past either way.
I said
But
no.
you decide to set your end of the chest down on the step that you're standing on. You step around, take 2 steps, and roll the Spartan kick. This
please be amazing.
is Quinn!
I want to.
What country are we in?
Well,
Oh.
Good hit.
you're in the,
Dirty 20.
Wait,
you're in the kingdom of Gale.
Can't stop that.
can I like counter it with a cantrip called Gust of Wind? So it's like.
Why would you do this to me?
Because I don't.
Why
see
would you
we're
do this
kicking
to me?
Off of the stairs in the first
All right,
place.
He's not getting off of the stairs, he's going down the stairs. There's a
Exactly, we're
difference.
kicking him
That's
Yes,
what
I
you
In a
get.
can
comical
him down
bowling
the
ball.
stairs.
No, you like called for it, and I don't want to be like a meanie about it, but I think if we say something, I think that means we're doing it. And the kick is already established, and now you're trying to cast your cantrip, and normally there's not a roll, right? It just occurs, but
But for one of the things, it's one medium or smaller creature that you choose must exceed a strength saving throw to be pushed up to 5 feet away from you.
yeah, I get it. You're using this differently though, and I'm going to give you. There's like a leaden minotaur's chance in hell that you're going to be able to pull this off, but you have the
Who are you
option.
trying to push?
Did
I'm
we?
trying to save him from
We
falling
dirty
down the
20
stairs.
Gale
So
kicked
he's
him.
gonna get kicked, and then you're gonna try to stop him from getting kicked.
Well, he's already been kicked. Right now, he
already
just
been
took a.
kicked.
He took
Oh,
a.
He's
yeah.
like getting kicked
He
in
is-
like mid-fall, I
He is
suppose.
kicked.
Well, I mean, he's not mid-fall yet because I haven't described this amazing scene where this booted foot comes from like out a third leg that Monolith suddenly has. That sounds terrible.
I'm just blocking it, and then a foot like goes past my face. And
Yeah.
oh, what the?
Yeah.
And it goes directly into his chest. And I know that we've all seen video of people getting kicked in the chest, but just imagine the hooves going, oof! Everything stays in place, but the body starts to move.
Imagine he has run into an exercise ball, a fantasy exercise
Yeah.
ball, and has bounced off.
And he's almost got that. Here comes the It's really pretty spectacular, and he begins to fall. You guys are gonna be sharing this hallway or this stairwell with him for about another 3 or 4 stories down.
Wait, does that mean he's behind me falling?
Yeah, he's coming towards you. He's falling slower than you're running, so unless you
No.
stopped, you're okay.
Where's
The thing that's going to happen now is he's going to suffer an amount of damage minus an amount of cushion.
It's a 5. My unarmed strike is a 5, just flat.
I thought you were 20. We rolled the 20?
Yeah, I did.
But the
I did.
Oh, the hit.
The damage,
The
yeah.
damage. Well, in this case, gravity is the killer. Your
Okay.
your 20 was
Might
enough to
actually
start
be the
the
kill. 3 stories
to
of
start the
stairs.
damage.
Pretty
1 damage per stair.
Oh man, he would die.
There's a chance, though, that a gust of wind is going to buff it behind him just enough to slow the spell,
To arrest
so that
his
when he
fall.
hits, it gives him a series of horrible raspberries that ache for days, but no HP damage. And that'll be depending on how well you roll. What's your...
My modifier's a 0.
I know how difficult this is, so just roll, and I guess it's a straight roll, and you're trying to beat a magic number.
Magic number. Oh.
I got a 16.
As he's falling, a gentle breeze caresses him right before he lands and hits the stairs once, twice,
You can, like, run up
and
and
then
stop it.
comes to rest. He ends up getting those same raspberries nonetheless, all those painful raspberries on his back. Am I using the right word? The painful
Goosebumps?
boo-boos,
Goose eggs?
ouchies.
Welts,
Goose
bruises.
Yeah.
Raspberries.
Yeah.
Raspberries is like, yeah,
That
blow
thing.
raspberries.
In the old days, we would also refer to that as the weird red strawberry kind of a.
Hickey.
He got wounded. He got wounded. But the actual damage came from the first 3 strikes on the steps. And for him, it was a total of, oh my gosh, have we gone all this far? All right.
Yes.
Here
The
it
answer
comes.
is yes.
Yep, it's happened. All right. He takes a substantial amount of damage.
Does he look
substantial?
hurt? Does he look like hurt?
No, he looks like he fell down and lost roughly 15% of his hit points. That's how he looks to you
15%.
as adventurers.
I'm gonna look at everybody and be like, "What is wrong with you people?"
I'll
And
be
I'm
like,
gonna
yeah, that really wasn't
run
necessary.
past and run down to the leaden Minotaur. And
We're short on time,
it
and
doesn't matter.
there.
That does not
there
mean
are
that we
people
have to
behind
be
us.
Terrible people.
Look,
got some
I never
time.
claimed
We
to
got,
be a
like,
good
work.
person. I just claimed to be a
listen.
person.
Quit arguing and hurry up!
Are we going?
We have like an hour, okay? We can slow down. Let's discuss some things.
We don't!
Have you forgotten about the army behind us?
Yeah, they're gonna be here in like an hour.
No, they're not. A mile and a half takes horses maybe 10-15 minutes to run.
Then we got 5 minutes to sit here and
Oh,
discuss
my
what we.
Lord. No,
Are
5
we
minutes.
heading
No, not
to-
happening.
We're hiding to like Lady P, right? She's a powerful wizard. She could kill them all.
You do not know that, and you do not know her. I do not know her. Nobody knows her.
We barely
He's-
know anybody. I don't even know you.
No, you really don't. That's probably better for you as it is.
I just want to discuss that we found like potions as well. You know, like we found equipment.
Yeah, we have like 16 health
And can
potions.
we also talk about how you guys left us in the middle of something? We were kind of doing something, and that, just because you found the orb doesn't mean that it was something that you should have done. What if he was gonna kill us?
Well, you guys will be fine.
You
He
were
wasn't
a
gonna kill you.
giant spider. You can turn into a giant spider.
Okay,
like,
but for how long?
I
You
say-
don't know.
Listen. I thought that it was understood that at least I like to go off on my own.
Valdril comes running back up the stairs. What's taking everybody so long?
Listen.
You pass by
Let's-
the
I
leaden
start just,
minotaur
like-
who's he's kind of in the corner, not in the middle of the stairwell, but off
Hey,
in the
you look
corner.
rough, buddy.
And he's going,
I'm gonna
I start like dragging my side of the chest down the stairs towards the.
yours is up. His was still in the hand, so I guess that would kind of mean you two are now off.
Yeah,
it's
I'm
off
like-
the ground, and you're moving
I'm
again.
like moving. If
I'm-
I have to drag
I'm
it
moving
past
kinda-
him, I'm dragging it past him.
I'm
and
walking
just
like
like
normal
taking it with
speed.
me.
I like
Okay.
cast everybody, and I'm gonna cast a second level healing word on the leaden Minotaur.
Yeah, do it.
Okay,
I don't
and
care.
they're
I
right
just want
behind
him out
you,
of the way.
and you're going. And now that he's kind of crumpled up in the corner, you guys have no problem walking past him, and you're
Yeah.
following Valandril at full speed.
I'm like walking normal speed, trying to discuss things, because I'm very confused. I'm like, okay, hold on. Can you do a little explanation before we reach the bottom of these steps?
No.
Walk and talk, boy!
Walk and talk.
I'm walking. What do we got?
What we got is a woman at the bottom of the well who says we've been lied to by not only Sebastian, but also Arjon now.
How do we know that
am not
she's
too
lying to
surprised.
us?
How do we know
don't.
that anyone's not lying? You're busy healing a Minotaur.
We have an army after us. I don't think we have time to argue.
There's too much line.
I think we have one person that says they have abilities that may be able to help us, regardless of what the outcome is.
I mean, Arjon had some pretty powerful abilities.
Arjon's not here.
Yeah, I know. But like, they all are very powerful. And
And as
have
far
lied
as we
to
know,
us.
everyone's against us, and there's an army coming here to kill us as well.
Thank
so,
you.
in terms of the two options we have right now,
Yeah.
that one seems really good and one seems very death,
I think we
I'm
should
taking the
go.
one that seems good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're walking
I
and
think we
talking.
should not.
We're
Yeah.
walking.
Oh yeah,
Safe for
absolutely.
He's like backwards doing this. Look!
I'm counting stairs in my head. You're doing great.
So like, okay, I understand there's an army coming, and it's
Yes.
gonna be here in like 20 minutes or whatever.
15 if you
Of course. But like, we still got some time. Like we walk and talk, we'll make it in time. Like
No.
Look,
we
if
found
we just...
goggles.
No.
I found new boots.
No.
You
That's
guys didn't
great.
even ask.
That's
They actually look really cool.
Thank you. They're very nice. They actually make
They're
me
very nice.
faster.
Oh, hey.
Magic boots.
Too bad they don't make you smarter. Let's
Is
go!
I'm sorry, Mr. Minotaur. Are you doing okay? I'm shouting up to him.
Can I have like brought him with us? Like,
Yeah, he's following. Even if you didn't want him to, he's following. He's going a little faster than you. He's standing up, and the damage he took and the healing that he got from you is not slowing him down at all. He moaned briefly, dusted himself
I
off,
think this is the most interaction our characters have ever had.
Right? Yeah, I
and
think
now,
so too.
now he's on his leaden way. So you guys are leading the way. You've made it. I would say just now, with Valandril running backwards in a circle, he's just now reached the opening to that cave room that's half of a fantasy football field in size.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so which way do we go now?
We go that way.
Okay, lead.
Yep, and this continues without a whole lot of effort on your part because there's nothing stopping you from following Valandril, and nothing stopping Valandril from leading you all the way up to the edge of that dark pit that only he has been down. When you reach it, and you're the first to get there again, and those of you at the case get there, I would say moments after. You're trying to keep up, but he's unencumbered, and you're carrying a 75-foot uncomfortable couch for your roommate.
Large,
And-
uncomfortable couch.
Right, you've made it all the way there, and Valandril's had enough time to look down and see that everything's dark again. Not that necessarily means anything, but that's what he's noticed.
I set the case down like near the ladder, and I'm like, okay, I have an idea for how we get this down there.
Push it.
Just shove it.
And then I
fine.
shove it.
I feel like maybe that wasn't the brightest idea considering.
Apparently we don't.
That's a look of a DM who didn't expect that.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't know how else.
What
You
if
guys were rushing us.
What if it
Oh,
turns
oh.
on?
Stuff's already happened. I guess you can talk for the 5 seconds it's falling, and I just needed to...
And we just hear, shh.
Or do we?
Oh, the world ends, guys.
What if it's some... Oh, that'd be cool. I mean, terrible.
Does everything just implode like immediately?
It's like you put the rock in the hole.
Yeah.
The
Are we about to summon
the
microphaxes?
chest tumbles end over end for 5 seconds. If anybody was watching it, it seems that it hangs in space for a brief moment, just inches above the ground. And when it hits with an impact, it's hitting with 75 pounds of force. It's the weight of the
We can't
the
carry
orb
this thing anymore.
and the case
Bad move.
and the case on the outside, and it's landed on the bottom, and it's completely when it hits, it completely shatters every semblance of the chest that it was in. You're left with fragments, and out of the fragments comes rolling this case, which is it's like a...
That was a bad move.
I'd say,
Or was it?
I didn't necessarily describe the shape of the case that the orb was in because you looked at it from within the case. You touched it briefly, but never lifted it.
Yeah.
It's got multiple flat sides to it. It's like a ball that would roll, or a wheel that's lumpy, but it looks like a giant die.
Yeah.
Looks like a giant D20.
Hey, that looks like a
Giant.
D20.
Wait, are we talking like D8 or
D20.
D12?
No,
or-
a full 20.
Okay.
A whole bunch of different sides. It's got... I'd like you to picture the dark orb inside. I'd like you to picture that this is a geodesic dome on top and bottom holding it in, and it's hinged. And the hinge that I described as a very nice hinge earlier is still a very nice hinge,
Yeah,
and
close hinge.
the latch on the other side is still a very nice latch, except when you get down to see it, you'll see that the latch is completely off, and that the case that the orb is in is not open, but it's not being latched closed.
Okay. So it's kind of cracked.
Yeah, it seems the case that the orb was in got damaged, but it didn't open.
Okay.
As I looked down, I was like, oh, that was a bad move, guys.
No time for regrets. And Valandril goes to the ladder.
I'm like, no, don't touch the box. It will hurt you. And then I climbed down the ladder.
As soon as you break that field, that opening just above the circle, each of the openings that you saw light up before light up again. Pop, 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 pop.
That's what I said.
Monolith's in awe, but Valandril wishes he'd hurry up because he's seen it all before. Who's going down first?
I.
You are first? Yeah,
Yeah.
makes sense. So you're scooting down, having been here before. Monolith right behind you. He's probably taken a brief second every so often to look down the hallways because it's new for him. You reach the bottom, and when you get to the bottom in the last rung, it's time to jump down the last 3 feet.
Yeah.
And you jump. And when you hit the water, it splashes, and it's cold on your ankles, and it's cold on your feet, and it wets your breeches. Nothing else seems to happen. It's just really chilly. And you're standing down on the ground, about 3 feet away from you, a pile of rubble, what used to be a beautiful chest, and about 2 feet away from that, a multi-sided object that is rolled out of the rubble is sitting by itself on its side.
At this moment, he is going to wait for everyone else.
I believe that Monolith is the first to get to the ground.
Where is Jam at the moment? Are you still healing the Minotaur, or what are you doing?
No, once I finished healing him, I brought him with us and sort of following you guys again.
Okay.
Yep. He got his 4 points of healing back, and then he was following you guys at a distance that let you know that his wounds didn't keep him from keeping up with you.
Okay.
He took his wounds, whined a little bit, and then started the keeping up.
Okay.
So it's not too much longer after the two of you make it up that you and the Leaden Minotaur also catch up. At this point, the Leaden Minotaur probably wanted to go and stop you from going anywhere with the case, but two things. One, you're going deeper into his safety zone, so he likes that. And two, he's terrified that one of you or all of you will change into giant spiders at any minute. So he's really just trying to keep everybody calm and happy.
Yeah.
So those are the two things that keep him as more of an observer follower. Jam, do you take to the ladder and join everybody?
Yeah.
And I believe, Quinn, you'd already followed Monolith down?
No, I waited until they were down there and made sure they got down there first and then followed.
Yes. So as Monolith hits the ground and nothing seems to happen to him, you begin to go down as well. Probably taking a brief minute to look over your shoulder at the entrances as you go down. And Jam, I'm not going to put words in your mouth, but I imagine you go down as well?
Yeah.
Okay, down you go. Interestingly enough, the Leaden Minotaur stops at the circle and he looks down at you guys and he says, "Oh, well, say hi to her for me. I don't get to talk to her directly. It's weird living here and never getting to see her, but tell her I said hi." And then his head disappears over the well.
Aww.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll tell her.
You don't hear anything, but it's not because he doesn't want to be there. It's just because he'd already basically disconnected the call and he was done with you.
Sorry, the number you dialed cannot be reached.
Please try the Golden Minotaur.
Already
So
did that.
how are we gonna get this in there?
Is everyone at the bottom now?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So Valandril, not knowing anything about the case or anything,
I
goes
said
over to
it.
try
No. When you started going down, I said,
Valandril
"Don't
not
touch the-"
listening to Monolith.
Boy.
Can I roll a dex save to slap his hand?
If
he
he
doesn't touch
reaches
it?
for it and I see him do it, I'm gonna kick it out of his way. Like,
Don't kick
we're not
the
doing
cake.
it. I'm
I'm
gonna
slapping
fucking
his
kick
hand.
it. I'm
I'm
gonna
slapping
kick
his
it.
hand.
I
We're
don't care.
gonna have to slow down here because this is one of those situations, and you guys being above level 3 and being very, very susceptible to death. I am really genuinely just want to make sure we take every serious step one at a time. What's the first thing that happens?
He's reaching to grab the orb, or the case the orb is in,
Yeah.
to ideally pick it up and start moving.
Okay, so you reach like you're picking up a football off the ground.
See.
Then I go to slap his hand because I see him reaching for it.
So a roll for attack and give me a dex save.
Attack?
Yeah, this is you're attacking
Are you
him.
dex saving my slap?
Oh no.
Oh god. I don't
Why?
think my attack. What do I? Oh, I have a. Okay.
Oh no!
Counts as an armed strike.
Yeah, unarmed.
What'd you get?
23.
Oh.
Good luck.
That's pretty.
I roll-
That's pretty dexterous.
Hold on.
Good luck.
If I roll an 18, I can match it. I
You'll
really
need
have
a
to
19 or
roll.
above.
Yep.
Yep, you gotta beat it.
Just beat it. I wish I had
Beat
rolled a dex
it.
save.
Beat it.
Nice. Well, I didn't.
I'm just gonna boot it down the tunnel. If he reaches past and Monolith misses, or like a conversation does not ensue, that's the action I'm readying.
Those are the things that happened because I'm going to say I'm picturing all of 3 seconds for somebody to go reach down. Within that first second, slap! You're like, "Nyeh!" Out of his way, very deftly, like a young man who's had stuff swatted from him before. Not this time! And you keep reaching down, and now you're a second away from grabbing the orb like a football, and you said...
I'm gonna kick it. I'm gonna kick it down the tunnel.
Okay.
Wouldn't that affect her, though?
It's
making
rude.
contact with it?
Not bearskin.
I don't know. We don't know how that works.
I don't
she's
know, I
doing
don't
it.
His
care.
hand's gloved.
I don't know, I don't care.
Yeah,
I'm
and
kicking it out of your reach.
This
Then
is
is it? Oh,
this is just how things go.
Yeah.
I will say that
I'm the dumb one.
this is
Never said I was smart.
this will not result in anybody having to deal with Sebastian, but I cannot stress that is the absolute least of your worries. I'm going to need Joe to do a special roll that's all completely made up.
She misses and kicks him in the face.
A case with a beautiful hinge and no latch is laying in the ground, and you kick it. And sometimes when you kick a box that's closed but not latched,
It pops open.
it rolls without popping open. Sometimes. It's way more common, I'm afraid, for a case to open when it's not latched and it's being kicked.
Yo, I just destroyed the entire world, guys. Sorry.
Let's take one step at a time.
Oh.
And I need to come up with a way for this to be mathematical. We're going to be using percentile dice. You're going to be rolling your 10s and your 1s.
This is a first.
And
Roll them both.
Tens and ones?
Yeah, you've got the two 10-sided die, right? You got the percentiles.
I only
The
have one.
The 100 and the 10.
You should have two of
I only
those.
have
That's
one.
the tens.
That's a 12. There is no 10.
Here.
I have
okay.
100.
So
No, that's the tens.
Whatever,
That's
tens.
the
One.
one.
So now
Thank
you've got
you.
10s and 1s. And hold on, before you roll it, just keep in mind that with this weird configuration, if you see a bunch of zeros, that means 100. And that's really, really good.
Yeah.
99 and 97 are also very good.
Okay. Okay. $59.
So as the case of the orb goes, it doesn't roll as much as it bounces and bumps.
Awkwardly, yeah.
Yeah, it bounces and bumps down towards the opening, and in its last little roll, it cracks open, and inside, this dark black orb. Keep in mind that you're in darkness, and while there's some light filtering down from the rooms above you, and you've got night vision and double goggles, it is the color of the orb is visible in this light. And it's so weird to have the color black be a thing that's visible in blackness. But this envelops night. This steals the darkness from night. It is so black, and you can see it in darkness because of that blackness. And I need to read about one special thing. This is the obsidian orb.
Bye, guys.
It was in a stasis chamber. It's no longer in the stasis chamber. The stasis
Good
chamber was
God.
50 pounds.
Wow.
How did I kick that without breaking my foot? Whoo!
With a bad roll.
Yeah, I guess.
Can I roll to slap both Quinn and Valengeril?
I like Jan and Tammy.
All right, now this is the next thing that happens. I need you to roll, and I'm going to let you be the one that rolls it rather than me because it's just fun. The orb is going to activate.
Stop!
It's going to activate.
For real?
Hold on.
I hate all of you.
It's going to.
I did nothing.
It's going to activate.
Everything.
You didn't listen to me, and that caused this to happen.
She
Anyway.
kicked it.
It's going to
Yeah.
activate in a number of hours.
Okay.
We don't know, and even after this roll, you won't know how much time is going to pass. But the object has now been set in motion. So please roll a d6.
Well, I have in my equipment. I can just,
I got a 3. I think it's a random number attached to... I don't think... Because he said I wouldn't know. So it's not going to be 3 hours. It's gonna be like 15 minutes.
I have nothing to say about time because you'd have no concept of what's happening, but the darkness of the orb, if anything, it first intensifies and then takes on a purple hue, and then on the outside of the surface you get, that oil on water look where it looks like rainbows swirling around?
Yeah.
It coalesces on the outside where those rainbows begin to swirl around on the outside, and then the thing that probably concerns you the most is it begins to thrum.
Maybe we should have been a little more careful with the world-destroying weapon that we have in our possession.
Can I legitimately, actually, 100% roll to slap both of them?
Yes.
Okay.
Roll to attack is how that would work.
Is it like a two-handed attack? So it's like,
Or is it like a collective pimp slap where it's just?
Are you going to include Janet Tammy just out of frustration?
No. Jane and Tammy didn't do anything.
This sounds like a classic Three Stooges, so I'm going to give you a +2 to the hit and just
Okay.
roll for attack.
Okay. That's a 16.
Plus your 2?
Oh, no. That's a 13 plus a 2 plus a 5, so it's 18.
Oh wow!
So does anybody have an AC of 18 or less?
No.
Okay.
So-
Go, please.
Okay.
Enjoy.
So I see... So we're going to go back a little bit. I see him reach for it, and I'm like, no! And then I go to slap him, and I miss. And I'm like, oh, he's just going to I'm like, great, he's going to touch it. He's going to hear Sebastian, whatever. And then, like, since I slapped, I can't really see anybody. And then a foot just comes out of nowhere and kicks it. And I'm like, what the hell? What? And then it rolls into the cave, opens, and the orb spills out. All that like whoa happens, and I turn around and I'm just like, like one each, and I'm like,
I want to slap him back.
First of all, I said don't touch it. You don't touch it. And then I know I'm a dumbass, but I'm not a moron. Why would you kick the world-destroying vice case? What the hell is wrong with you guys?
So I want to slap him back for slapping me.
Roll for attack.
Quinn
hold
barely
on.
flinches
Let's
and
see.
just like pours herself a shot, glares at him, and takes a
Can I
shot.
roll a dex save since I'm like staring at him?
23.
Well, no. He
No,
he
you
rolled
got
for attack and hit you. That's a pretty good hit, too.
What's your unarmed, by the way? I'll take the damage for me.
Oh, it's just 4.
4.
Just a 4.
Yeah,
What's
you take
yours?
5, by the way.
You slapped me?
Yeah, so after
he slapped
Valandril
you
gets
back.
slapped, he immediately retorts with, I didn't know, come on!
And I say, well, you should have listened to me, and I'm rolling to attack.
They're gonna kill each other.
It's very possible.
Long before the weapon gets to him.
Yeah, that was a miss, so.
What'd you get?
I got a 10.
Okay, yeah.
You swing so hard that you overbalance from the miss and you stumble a little bit.
Feel the gust of wind.
Quinn pours herself another shot, takes it, and just walks
At
down
that
the
point,
tunnel.
retaliation for retaliation. Even though a miss, Valandril's going for another slap. They're back.
God.
I'm walking past them. I don't care.
Anyone want to
You were
stop
totally
this?
on the way. The weird thing
Janet,
about
Tammy,
the
you
tunnel
wanna
where
plug in here?
where it started to roll
Listen, no.
is that it's only about 4 or 5 feet tall. It's not necessarily meant for walking in. Most of the people seem to be on their back floating.
yeah.
Yeah.
You guys never went through that process, so you can go down the tunnel,
Yeah.
but it's more of a crawling
Yeah,
thing.
that's fine. I'll crawl down the tunnel.
A
I don't
6?
care.
15.
A 15? You hit. You're actually gonna kill me.
You are actually gonna kill him.
When can I roll a dex save to dodge?
That's only if you're trying to slap somebody's hand.
It's
You
okay.
gotta say, you
okay.
gotta say ready.
Like,
to
my
dodge
my
it.
health got pretty bad because of you.
My health is getting worse.
You guys
Well, don't
want
slap me.
to keep
Don't
going?
slap
You got
me.
a
I
lot of
slapped you because
potions.
you're an idiot.
Bye.
I slapped you 'cause you
gone.
slapped me.
All right. Okay, we have like 10 minutes and something that is pulsing. I don't even understand. Can we please
Quinn!
hurry up?
Give me one of your health potions. You got like 13. Can we divvy those up now?
Drink one of your own.
I don't have any because you have them all.
Oh, you're right. We'll get down here and I'll give you one.
Oh my god. Fine.
I'm not turning around to go back towards you idiots.
And
we just-
I slap people.
I'm Valandril. I don't listen to anybody and touch an orb that connects us directly to
I'm
Sebastian.
monolith. I grew up on the streets, but I can't hit somebody with my bare hands.
Can Janet go and take the like case that was holding the orb and try and like scoop up the orb
This
and put
is-
it back in
isn't
the
this
case?
what-
Like a clam.
This is
You
what got us in
can.
trouble.
So
And
the orb
it's
has slowly
heavy,
been
but you're
causing us
picking
all
it up.
to-
And as you go over and try to clamp, it's kind of like picking up a spider with a takeout box. You don't want to pick them up, but you're doing it with the. As you try to clamp it
Cup and a
around,
piece of paper.
Yeah.
It's not gonna escape, guys.
You can hear it moving in the cup, and you're like, "Ah!"
you find that it has grown so big, and you didn't notice it. It seemed imperceptible just based on the look, but the actual size seems to be so much bigger. You can hardly get the case up to it, much less around it. So it no longer fits in the case.
This is not a
At that
good
very
thing.
moment, a shrill siren begins to sound in the room where you are, the hallway where you are, the well where you are, the entire island. If you were anywhere else on it, you'd be hearing the same thing. It's the distinct sound of intruder alert. It's a very, very terrifying sound when you consider what may have triggered it.
All right.
Start sprinting down the hall.
You're gonna be like doubled over.
Yeah, you hit
Like
your head pretty quick.
bear
Well,
crawling.
I'm
How big
crawling
is
as
the-
fast as I
sorry.
possibly can.
I'm already like way down there. I'm
have
calling
one and a
for the lady. I'm
Not
like,
yet.
hey,
You have to attune
hey,
still.
Oh, you
we
24
brought
hours
the
to
orb
attune?
down here. If you're still down here, now would be a great time for some help because we ain't got much option left, and I might have kicked it.
like an idiot.
Like a moron.
You two were the ones slapping each other over it instead of doing something.
You're the
Slap
one
him
that
again.
ended the world, so thank you.
You're welcome. Now you don't have to deal with me anymore.
Good.
Walking towards you
Yeah.
is an illuminated silver figure. And I'd like you to think about how weird this is. Because you're hunched over in a tiny little tunnel, and yet, seemingly through the stone, somebody is walking towards you. As Lady P walks, the entire cavern around her opens and widens, and she walks right up to you and stands above you as you're hunched over for what used to be a low ceiling, and she says, "Say it again."
It?
I kicked it. I'm not drunk enough for this.
Is it out?
It's out.
She swiftly turns in the direction she was going and leaves you on the ground with your alcohol, and moves quickly. And as she walks, the cavern enlarges around her. It doesn't shrink back to normal or smaller size as she passes. It stays large, and she walks all the way right past you and right up to you as you stand around the orb. And as you guys are looking at it and trying
think
to
it's gonna
put
go
Humpty
in.
Dumpty back together
I don't know
again,
if this will work.
she steps up and looks at it and then looks at you. And her eyes, if you knew her, you would know that she's not somebody who possesses angry eyes. She just doesn't. They're furious.
I'm so sorry. I didn't even it just it won't go back in. I don't know what to do about it. I'm trying really hard here. I'm
She
so
doesn't
sorry.
really care at all about what you're saying. The fury, you're feeling like it's probably for you, but it's directed at this situation. This is something that for 8 years, I can tell you, for 8 years she's been trying to prevent this from happening.
Wow.
And look what
And
we
right
did.
now, in the place where it probably is probably the least good place for her, this weapon has been triggered, and she stands above it and looks down at it and is stumped on what to do next. And she just stands there for a while thinking, with the sirens blaring, and with now above her and you, perhaps the sound of distant footfalls, a rumbling, a vibration.
That doesn't sound good.
Well, I mean, we got the siren, now we got footsteps, the orb is unleashed. What could possibly sound good at a moment like this?
Quinn takes another shot.
How about
You
a whole
see-
dinner?
And I'm picturing you down the hall that's been elongated, and you're still probably either seated or on your knees with your alcohol and your shots, and you haven't moved
I'm
since she
kind
passed by
of
you.
like squatting there, hunched over like a goblin, like a grumpy goblin, just like pouring myself shots and drinking. Like, at this point, it's just, I don't care.
I'm like, Quinn, get over here. The passage is bigger, and we need those health potions.
No!
I swear to God, I'll break that bottle of vodka.
It's already mostly empty. I break it against the ground and hold it up.
We need the health potions.
Look, she's useless right now.
Her health potions aren't. She can at least ferry them to
She has
us.
health potions?
Yeah, she has like 16 good health potions.
Valandril's
we're
gonna
not
walk
gonna
up to
need
Quinn
them
right now.
for much longer.
That's fair.
The lady in
That's
silver begins to, as you guys do all this, and all those things happened, begins to move her hands in such a way, and
Ninjutsu.
two things happen. She says, "We have 2 hours, and there's nothing to do to stop it." And she begins to raise the orb with just her hands and maybe a mage hand or some sort of magic. And she raises the orb, and she carefully starts to walk back down the direction that she came from. She's not stopping to say anything. She gave that little bit of information, and now she's mumbling and moving her fingers as she walks.
What?
2 hours until what?
What do you mean we can't stop it? There's nothing.
I'm gonna follow
Nothing
her. I'm
nowhere.
just like, I'm gonna stand up and follow her.
There is no magic that will stop this orb from detonating.
What is it?
What does it detonate? How big are we talking?
What is it gonna do?
I normally don't tell the story of what this orb is capable of, but since we might witness it firsthand, it's the most horrible storm this world has ever seen.
Fortnite.
You better find your hamster balls. We've all heard of hurricanes, and we've all heard of cyclones, and we've all dealt with tornadoes, and we've all dealt with the elements. This combines all of the worst of all of the storms, and it's at its full height, at its full strength. It's the size of a continent.
That's pretty big.
It will wipe out everything. And once it's unleashed, we have no control over where it goes.
And there's actually not, like, if you, Sebastian, and Arjon all got together and combined your magic, there's still nothing to do to stop it.
I would love to tell you there's a quest that would solve this problem. But you've started a chain of events that I can't undo.
So that's it?
Oh, we're just dead?
We're
Should we
just gonna die?
Should we just party it
Let's
out?
just throw it down a dark hole then.
I have no idea what
This is
you're
the
going to
dark
do,
hole.
A dark hole.
but right now, my only objective is to minimize loss of life. And the whole time she's moving and she's saying these phrases to you, she keeps her incantation going and she keeps moving forward. And at this point, because you've moved closer to the dock that you perceive to be a dock, you can tell that this orb has grown maybe twice in size in the short little walk that it's taken to get from here to there.
Is there can we dig a hole and bury it? Can we dig a really deep hole?
What do you have, a 5 for intelligence? These are all very good suggestions, and we've had our top mages and alchemists working on ways to fix this problem. But the whole reason that I've had it hidden here, the whole reason I've been protecting the world from what Arjon wanted to do with this, is so that this wouldn't happen. The only thing we can do now is minimize the effect.
Open a portal, throw it in.
Yes. My hope is to transport this to a part of our world where very few citizens will die. I've thought about this choice before, and even the least populated places have people that I can't bring myself to just murder, but I have to make a choice. And while she's talking now, she's left the path, the one that you floated down on your back, that you guys have now walked on through a much larger tunnel than there was before. You get to the dock, and you recognize it's really just a step up out of the water, essentially. And from there, you begin to follow it, and you see that there's a beautiful house built underground.
Nice little cottage.
It's like she's got a hidden house out here under the desert, under a lake, under an island, under a tower. She's under everything. And she's got this, what looks like a beautiful house on the outside that she's walking towards. And as she walks up to the front door, windows on both sides and little flower pots with flowers growing out of them. It's very suburban for an underground dwelling. The door opens as she approaches it, and she walks inside with the storm, and you follow. And as you enter the room, you're shocked. The inside of the room is probably 10 times as big as what the house made you think it was. Not 10 times bigger up and down, and I'm not talking about oversized furniture. I mean like the TARDIS. You walk in and what's going on? You saw the outside of this building. How is it doing this? And
on the inside.
while the size, exactly, it's...
They always say that.
Yeah, they always say that. With the initial shock of the size wearing off, you begin to notice what's in there. It is the most elaborate workshop you've ever seen. It looks like a place where maybe 40 different people go to work all day long with hammers and tools and torches and magic equipment, and just everything seems like something exciting to look at. But you can also tell that while it looks like 40 people could be working here, this is the place where one very busy, hard-working mage spends her time. And she walks, this mage, with her hands outstretched and the worst terror this world has ever seen floating in front of her, to the center of the room, and she sets it on a table. A simple wooden table now holding this tempest. As it sits there and she stands back and takes a look at it, she reaches under the table and pulls out several books and starts flipping through them. And she's going to ignore you for a few minutes. You have some time to talk to one another.
Oh, I was going to tell her that her leaden minotaur guy said hi. But she's not paying attention, is she?
If you told her that, did you tell her?
Yeah, I'm going to say I told her that.
Okay, she... Oh, okay. Yeah.
At least I did. At least I said hi.
Yeah.
So,
Is there a place to sit?
The room is filled with chairs, benches. Every bench has different stuff, and if you want me to, I'll tell you what's on the bench next to you.
Sure.
Nothing. You sat down next to an empty bench.
Nice.
That was weird.
Nah.
All right.
I crack open another bottle of whiskey, probably on my last one at this point.
Yeah, is it?
And
We should know for sure.
I think so. I haven't
least-
been counting, but we'll say it is.
At least one.
Yeah, yeah. And I crack
See.
it open and pour a glass and set it down on the table next
The
to
amount
the door.
of anger that Valandril's kind of feeling right now, he's going to walk up and try to slap that bottle out of her hand.
Let's see.
I'm going to take a shot.
Well, you might.
No, I mean, I'm going to take like an alcohol shot.
I don't know, like he might hit it out of
He's
Yeah.
gonna try and slap it out of my hand.
I guess then, worst case scenario, you could always try to steal her very last shot. You're going to be dexterous, and you're going to be attacky.
Dex save.
Okay.
Actually, no, you can. This one.
Oh, okay.
Oh, God.
And we're going to have her dexterousness indicate what
Bad luck
the
on your
level
die.
is that you have to beat.
Okay.
Oh, that wasn't good.
It's like a 8.
We should know, though, because he's about to roll and it could be anything. It's a full 8 for sure. All right. He has to 7 or below, and you still have liquor. And for your...
Even with a modifier?
No modifiers
Got it.
for open hand. This is not an attack. It's a bottle attack. So you have no proficiency in bottle
It's not an
attacks.
attack, it's a bottle attack. 7.
What? I wanted her to have alcohol. I got a little nervous. So both of you, clumsier than normal, you from alcohol, you from teenage angst, managed to do this unbalanced ballet of swatting. When it's all over, your liquor bottle is safe, and you overcompensate a little. And you rolled the 8, right?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. You were more dexterous.
It's safe.
Okay. You got really close to even knocking over the shot that was poured on the table, but missed that as well. Yeah.
I take that shot.
I raise my eyebrows at you and pour you another one.
And then I give it to Janet Tammy.
Janet Tammy's gonna just look at you guys and then sit on the floor and take out
And then you're gonna take a second one.
I refill your glass a third time and then turn around and like lean my back against the table that the orb is sitting on, and I'm sitting there like taking shots straight from the bottle. And I look over at
I give it to Valandril.
No.
I look
Then
over
you take the third shot.
at the lady, and I'm like, so you said that you had thought about opening a portal to the least populated part of this world, but you never thought about opening a portal to a different world altogether?
One of my parents is from a different plane of existence. Maybe we could get them to put it somewhere that doesn't have any inhabitants.
It's pretty impressive. My parents just like to party.
Oh. Yeah, no, I don't see my dad. Or my mom. I don't remember.
Which one is it?
It was my mom. I don't see my mom, but she's a little more powerful, so I'm lesser, and she's kind of a prick. But she gave me nice presents for my birthday once.
That's kind of sad about life.
Yeah.
Before she answers, answers your comment, I've been waiting to use these alcohol dice. And
yes.
You guys have been drinking now enough
Yes.
to where I'm going to have you roll 2D
Yes.
2D alcohol dice
2D
Yes.
alcohol.
just to find out exactly what's happened to your faculties. And normally we do this with Constitution, but these dice have beer on them.
Beer dice, yes!
Oh, that's
Yes!
So, does the amount of beer on the die dictate how...
Yeah, like if
How
you see
borked up you are.
if you see 12 beers, then
Unconscious,
you've
you're
had
dead.
quite a bit of beer. I mean, for you it's
Alcohol
liquor, but
poisoning.
we're making a beer to dwarven whiskey,
It's
Elvish,
Elvish
right?
whiskey.
elvish whiskey.
It's the good stuff.
I didn't.
Oh, I got 8 total beers.
Oh!
Yeah.
I got a 6 and a 2.
Somebody's not been drinking much lately.
No, I haven't. I think this is my first time drinking the campaign.
No, we all took that one shot, right?
I don't think so.
I got 4.
Yeah, that makes
sense.
Yeah,
This tracks.
You're like chasing that dragon. It's
Yep.
not quite getting there.
Yep.
All right. So I will just need you to speak with a few more slurs and a little more bravado than you might normally use. You can be exactly who you are.
Yes. I am not drunk yet.
So, and with that, Lady P answers your question, and she says, I've obviously thought about depositing this problem on the people of another world, but there are 2 problems, and one is that it's my sworn duty to honor the people of this world and the people of other worlds. And while this weapon was made here, sending it elsewhere would be a disservice to the other planes. It would be out of balance, and balance is the most important thing to me.
Or couldn't you, like... Couldn't you, like... Couldn't you, like, just put it into space?
Yeah, couldn't you put it on like the moon or
Yeah, couldn't you just put it on the moon or something?
Let's go with empty space, because putting it on a moon would
How
mess
many
everything
moons
else
do we
up.
have? Do we have one moon?
Do we know about the moon? Do we believe
Do
in
we
the
know
moon?
about space?
I was gonna say the space between worlds to try and, keep up with the science of the times, because, we do know that there is a space between dimensions, between the worlds, but like...
Are our astronomers
Do we have one
magic?
moon?
I would hope so.
There are a lot of scientists on this world, and they are aware of how the heavenly bodies move themselves, and you'd be shocked at the similarities between your worlds and this world, and how the heavenly bodies move in them. You guys have a single moon. You've lived on this world your whole lives, and you know of a single moon. And Lady P repeats that I would like you to imagine a paladin trying to break their oath. I would like you to try to imagine one of the high priests or priestesses of a religion going against their religion. It's just not going to happen. The most important thing in the world is for all of the magic that was invested into this one object to not have it leave this plane and go elsewhere. It must be dispersed where it was captured.
Well, okay.
She's unwilling to throw out of balance the
Couldn't
worlds.
you put it into the sun? It just get like fizzled up. There can't be a storm on the sun, right?
She keeps working with a book and with her hand gestures, and she kind of ignores him, and you can't tell if it's because he's slurring his words or because she's just not interested in how wrong his suggestions are.
Is there anything I can do to help? I can do a little bit of magic, not much, but...
Well, if the 200 soldiers that are racing down the stairs get here, none of this will matter. So maybe you could hold them off for a little while.
Hell yeah, let's do it.
Oh, I have an idea. We have millions of bombs. Let's put them... I don't know. We can collapse the stairs in the tower. We're already gonna die, right?
May as well.
We could collapse the entrance to this cave, because they're already on the stairs. Wait, I have a jar of gunpowder. We could use that to trail, make a fuse.
We could make... That's a great idea.
Is it?
We could put a pile of the powder with some bombs around it, and then make a line of the powder, and then light it.
Aren't we in the middle of the water?
And then we in the middle of water.
But we're underground.
We're on a... I thought we stepped out of water onto, land.
Are we talking about where the island is?
Yeah.
So in the middle of the desert, there's an island, and in the middle of the... is a lake, and in the middle of the lake is an island.
No, I
In
was
this
gonna
cave.
say
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, there's a dock and it goes into the water. We had to cross water to get here.
Yeah, but keep in mind it was like walking on a road where it's rained recently, and there's a centimeter of water rushing across it.
Well, if you straight up pour gunpowder on that, it's still gonna mix it.
Go back up.
Oh, and it's flowing towards the dock and not away, because he floated down on his back to get there, so it wouldn't...
Okay, so there's nothing standing where we were. We would have to... There's a ladder, we should just break the ladder and...
If I was to walk you through geographically what you've gone through, because I'm sorry, I was daydreaming about what you've done.
Nightmare.
Yeah,
Is it a nightmare? Mm-hmm.
No, it's everything I could have hoped for. Anytime you give me something that I wasn't quite expecting, and actually maybe even dreading a little bit, it's exciting, because then something has to happen.
Every night when he goes to bed, he's like, man, I sure hope they don't drop the
Detonate
chest.
the orb.
Right, drop the chest.
I sure
down.
hope Drunky Brewster doesn't kick it.
And then someone kicks it, and
I mean, it's not like it wasn't already in a protective case that I didn't expect anybody to drop down a 50-foot well.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I know.
Shove it. No. You can't all blame just me for this.
Whoa, why are you
Shove
pointing
it.
at him? You were going to shove it regardless if he did it or not.
no.
Don't you even.
You were gonna shove it.
Don't you even.
No.
You just told me to shove it.
He
Yeah.
did it before anybody said anything.
Yeah, but then
both
you're
did.
like, oh, if he didn't do it, I was going to do it. So you know what? Quit trying to deflect blame.
No. You
We have
reached for it.
recording.
He shoved it. You reached for it. I kicked it out of the way.
Okay, what was that again? I kicked it out of the way?
Yeah, I did kick
No,
it out of the way
wait,
because you were gonna reach for it.
Wait. Before I pushed it, I said, I want to find a way to bring this down the ladder. And
You're
you both
relieved
were
of
like,
guilt. We're arguing
shove
about
it.
us now.
What was it? What else? I
No,
had something else I wanted to say.
still guilty.
Let's just pause for a second while everybody...
Leave a comment in the chat.
Everybody rewinds and checks it out, so we'll still sit here for a minute. Are you back yet? Did you find out what the answer was? Okay, all right.
There's
here
not
we go.
one. We all suck.
I think what just happened is not only fun from a game standpoint, and not only fun for me to watch, but fun from a narrative standpoint. If a bunch of people standing around with a nuclear weapon with a little counter on it clip one of the wires and it starts ticking a lot faster, that's exactly what's going to happen. You clip the green wire, I said the red one. What are you talking about? We're all going to die. And the arguments ensue. I mean, that was beautiful. I would just script all that exactly the way it happened. Go ahead.
I thought that the case couldn't be opened unless we used those runes.
No, that
the
was
case,
just an identifier.
yeah, the case has had an HP amount that it took to open it.
And I'm guessing the fall took a lot of that?
All of it. It was, you know what happened? It just from a fun little dice standpoint.
Yeah.
Not only did the HP destroy it, so it should have popped out initially, I rolled another dice that made it so that the thing didn't crack open. It still, even though the hinge was broken, was laying on the ground by some miracle not open. It took one other action for it to open. This was one of those
That's
perfect.
amazing.
Oh, it was a perfect storm.
Wow.
We're all gonna die.
I quit.
Yeah.
Well, not just us.
Campfire Quest just got canceled.
Yeah, well, we'll have to find
Season
another
2.
world to play in.
Yeah. world where I can be a minotaur.
Okay,
With your
I wanted to. I think I was in the middle of redoing the geography because I want you guys to know what your options are for protecting the orb. Right now, this is either going to erupt right here in 1 hour and change. And when it does, the continent that it covers, the size right here where it covers, you might be in the middle of a small desert, but around you, some of the most populated lands there are. This was not hidden here because it was a safe place for it to go off. It was hidden here because it was a hard place to get to. If this erupts right here, the entire kingdom of Gale and several other surrounding countries are going to be obliterated. Perhaps not completely wiped out and dead, but loss of 50% of life, 75% of the structures, all the food,
Balanced as all
famine.
things should be.
Don't worry, there won't be people dying of thirst because of all the flooding.
Yeah.
And the storm itself
Water poisoning.
will rage for a year. This is an unstoppable storm. Lady P mentions all this while she's working on it. You can't tell if it's frustration or her just teaching a lesson, but she methodically explains all of the bits that that you're hearing about right now. And then you see her get a look on her face. She's looking at a globe. She's got a globe that she's spinning, and she seems to have settled on a spot. And she extends her hand, and she places her hand right on the top where the icy ice caps are, the North Pole. And she looks at it.
No.
She looks at the old Santa. It's fancy Santa.
Right, my apologies.
Okay.
He's a young dude. He doesn't have a beard.
No. He's just a young guy just getting started. Wanted to be an elf, but just couldn't cut it.
He's gotta be the boss.
She thinks about it for a while and reaches under the table once more and pulls out another book. This one really wide and really tall, and pulls back the cover and starts running her fingers down some charts and goes, "Still very regrettable. It's the best I can do." And she says, "It looks like we're sending this somewhere very cold." You watch her as with the... I would like you to just imagine the storm for a minute, because it's been sitting, boiling within a sphere on the table. And now that it's in here, it's gone from, I would say, cantaloupe to begin with, basketball when it had increased in size and you couldn't clamp around it. This big, whatever this would be. That big. Balloon?
Watermelon?
Watermelon.
Yeah, round watermelon. By the time she got it to the table, and when her conversation and her calculations were done, she had something that was probably as big around as the open mouth of a giant garbage can. And it's just sitting right there on the table.
Beach ball.
And
Yeah, beach ball.
you're still picturing a very big one. Yeah, one of those oversized ones.
Yeah.
I want you to still picture that oil on water with the swirls all
baseball
around
game.
it. And I want you now to picture something else that's just become visible inside. Occasionally, little flashes of lightning. Yeah, you got it. Little spider webs of brightness that disappear inside the darkness. And every time you see the flicker, you can swear that it seems like the sphere is just barely holding back what's inside. Lady P, looking at the orb and turning to all of you, shakes her head. Waves her hands. Pulls a wand out of her vest and scratches on the table a series of shapes and runes all the way around the growing storm, and then begins to chant. And while she's chanting, the runes begin to glow, and one at a time they light up in a different color. Blue, green, red, yellow, maybe gold. And as the last, and as the last rune illuminates, a light from inside the circle of runes begins to shine, and it brightens to such a point where you guys are squinting your eyes and holding your hands up to some extent. and the light envelops the orb, and then with a loud sound of thunder, wha-pa! It disappears, and the only thing left in the room is a cold air, a smell of Arctic breeze, and a few snowflakes that fall to the ground and melt on the table, leaving drops and no visible snowflakes.
Where'd you send it?
I sent it far north, and I think I'm about to move south. I'm not sure how long this will last. I know that it'll be active for a year, but once it's done, there's no telling how long the residual storms will take to spin out of control. I know that all I can do now is do my best to go and help those in need or send aid to those that are displaced by the storm. We always considered this as one of the places to release if it became necessary, but I just never thought I'd have to execute the spells.
Sorry about that.
It's not your fault.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Well, if this is all taken care of, I need answers. You said our job was bad. Sebastian seems pretty bad.
Even Balazar
What?
seems bad.
Everyone seems bad.
We're all
What were we
pretty
supposed to
terrible.
do?
Oh,
At
even
this
you?
point, unless we want to fight the horde coming down the stairs, you'll need to follow me. And she walks over to the corner of the room where you see a entire series of rune portals. And I want you to picture on the wall like 5 different doorways, and each one is made out of a series of runes. She walks up to the one on the far, far right, and as she approaches it, you don't even see what she does with her hands, but her arms come up and move and her hands go back down. The portal illuminates, and she walks through it. Do you follow?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wait for everybody else to go through, and then at the house and the soldiers and the island and the minotaurs, I'm just like,
Oh man, I wanted to
And
throw
leave.
a grenade.
It'd be so much more fun if I could have one of you enter first and just bang into the wall. But no, she actually didn't want you to die there today. The portal
Today.
envelops you as you walk through it, and a coldness wraps around you, and you're positive that you're about to emerge into an Arctic zone. And instead, you pop out into a warm tavern. And there is a fire across the room from you. There are tables. There's the smell of burning fire and the smell of cooking food. There's a gentle laughter, and out the window, it appears that where you are, it's nighttime. The people that are seated inside, they're all very small. It appears to be a bar completely filled with gnomes.
Oh my god.
The woman in silver,
People.
completely like maybe
Where's
3
my
times
priority?
taller than most of the people in here, but she's not alone. She's brought with her several tall people. You guys, many of you, tower above the people in this tavern. This doesn't mean it was made for only gnomes, because there's enough headroom for all of you. But man, those tables and chairs are awfully small. It's possible to push a couple of them together maybe and make a regular person-sized table, but it seems like you're not here to drink or eat, because Lady P nods at the gnome behind the bar and walks to the door that leads out of the bar. It appears this is just where she has her entry point into this area. And she enters through the bar with you following and leaves through the front door. And you find yourselves in an evening forest. The sun seems like it might have gone down an hour and a half ago. There's the smell of a recent rain and crickets and frogs and fireflies. It's very scenic. And in about an hour, the orb's going to erupt. Lady P leads you down a path. This tavern, as you look back, is not surrounded by other homes. It's not surrounded by anything else that is...
It's just a tavern in the middle of the woods full of gnomes. That's really funny.
It's so fucking funny.
You
I
know,
like that a lot.
you know where gnomes live?
I don't actually.
In the forest.
Oh, I never messed with gnomes in D&D.
Well,
gardens.
To be fair, what you're saying is absolutely right, because normally gnomes have little villages and their houses are small. They're not made out of mushrooms like a lot of people think. They're big. The gnomes are bigger than that. They make gnome houses.
Yeah.
And they're often in communities, but it's also not uncommon for certain types of gnomes, rock gnomes, for instance, to live in the mountains, forest gnomes to live in the forests. You've found yourself in a forest of forest gnomes, and if you had asked Lady P and she'd answered you, she would have probably told you that the forest gnomes in this area live up in the trees primarily, but they come down here to the ground to enjoy their tavern.
That's sick. I like that.
She doesn't have to tell you that, though, because you walk for about a quarter of a mile and you reach a tree, and the tree is covered with rope. And the rope, when you take a look at it, is in the shape of knotted ladders, and it allows you to climb. You know this because she starts to climb, and you follow. And as you reach the top of this tree, just before you go inside, I'd like you to look out over your shoulder and see the silhouetted dark treetops against the inky blue sky. Stars are now quite visible, and the wood smoke smell that you smelled before, it's now more distant, but it's still hinted in the air. And you breathe in the smell of the moist, warm forest. I'm sorry I used the word, but that's what a forest often is. And then you step in one at a time into this home that's at the top of a tree. At the top of the tree is a tiny little home that you have to bend over to get in the front door of. And when all of you make it in there, Quinn going last, of course, and probably flicking off the forest as she goes, you guys make it into a small little room that appears to be the entire home. There are 4 or 5 candles flickering here or there, and it's the only light in the whole room. There's no hearth fire, there's no torch, there's just candlelight. And the candlelight is illuminating the piles of rags and what appears to be the hoarder gnome home. One of the piles in the center starts to move, and then it turns towards you. And the pile of rags is an ancient female gnome.
Ancient gnome.
She is so old. She's got these eyelids that just barely stay open as hard as she can try. And it's not fatigue, it's just the wrinkles and age. She's barely able to keep her eyes open because of all the wrinkles. And her face is just, it's a mountaintop of cracks and crags. And her little chin disappears right underneath her upper set of teeth. Her bottom jaw just seems to recede way back. And when she talks, the little tiny gray hairs that are on her chin that's way back wiggle around. And she says, "Prosperia, what are you doing here?" Lady P says, "Well, Ellison, it's happened." "No! Say it hasn't." And then I, talking to myself, say, "I'm afraid it has." And we have these young adventurers to thank.
Now hold on a second. You can't be putting on all of us, alright?
It certainly can't. Had I not built it, you could not have fumbled and dropped and opened it and set it off. Had I not made it,
That's fair.
we would not be in this position.
Probably should have thrown it down a well, huh?
Probably shouldn't.
Yeah.
Probably shouldn't have.
Probably should have kicked it.
I don't know.
Probably shouldn't have tried to grab it.
Probably should
All right,
just
okay,
listen.
listen. We don't have enough alcohol for this arguing, okay?
Prosperia says, "Eladril, I'm going to leave them with you. They say they want to fix the problem. I know that's not possible,
No.
but anything we could do to mitigate the damage, I feel like they owe us one. I have a few other people I need to save. It's not that anybody's more important than anybody else, but there are some that could help more than others, and I must save them. I'll be back. Please sound the alarm. And she climbs down the tree and disappears into the darkness. And you guys are all sitting in the treetop forest gnome home of, I said the name wrong the second time, it's Ellison.
Ellison, not Allison.
Ellison. Elephants.
Ella
Wait.
on the elephant.
Well, fucked up, did you?
Yeah. You're pretty big, actually.
Pretty big.
Yeah. I thought I was gonna die, so I drank some alcohol.
We'll do anything. I'll do anything.
Hey, I'll do anything.
Well, Prosperia told me we've got about an hour.
Yeah.
We won't be done in time. The orb will detonate.
Was there a way to stop it from detonating?
No way to stop it from detonating, but it grows. Once it detonates, it grows, and it takes about 7 days to reach full strength. If there's some way that we could keep it from reaching full strength, thousands could be saved.
Throw Sebastian and Arjon at it. Let them fight it out. Who cares?
She laughs in a way that lets you know that this is not the first time that sacrificing the two of them has come up as a possible option for solving this problem.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And since you're new to this, it's even more funny that a newcomer would think of that as a solution right away. Mm-hmm. And in addition to that, based on what you said, she reaches behind in one of her shelves, again, completely covered in hoarder-style stacks and piles, and she sticks her hand like right in, like she knows what's in there. Boom! Jingle, 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 and she pulls out a bottle that's completely made of stone. It's about this big, and you can't see what's inside, but it's stone, and there's a cork on the top, and she sets it in front of you, and she says, "He's had enough."
Yeah. I don't drink very often.
Clearly.
So what's even powering the orb?
The power was placed in there when it was created by Lady P and those two jackasses.
I pick up the stone bottle and wiggle the cork a little bit and open it and sniff it.
It smells like melted licorice.
Like red licorice?
Like black
It smells like
licorice.
melted black licorice.
Yes!
Goblin. Wait, is that Goblin?
Hi,
No,
Goblin Cat.
This is the princess.
Oh.
Hi, Trash Princess.
There's a cat on the table.
Bianca.
Oh.
Everything comes to a halt.
BB.
Let's make sure.
Come here.
Or don't. Or go somewhere else.
Stop!
Oh god. You go that way.
Yeah, there we go. Oh!
Who's a good kid? Who wants to be a star? Who wants to slit my throat?
Immediately run towards production.
Yeah.
Most important.
This is where the expensive stuff is.
I know mark my territory.
I take a swig of whatever's in the stone bottle. It smells good. I'm gonna drink some of it.
Yeah, it feels so good. It feels like medicine because when you drink it, the alcohol is something you recognize right away. There's a secondary ingredient in there that when it hits your lips and then throat and then how's it going into your shoulders?
All the way up.
How's it going into your fingers? You feel that warm your entire body, and you've not had this before. There's no name for it. You don't recognize it. It's an unknown beverage that you've now had a swallow of.
Just fuck me all the way up. Die anyway. Yep. Say plus.
Where's the beer dice?
Yeah, okay. That's you drank one of them? Just a D6. I'm going to add it to your last one.
1.
You are a bomb.
Yep.
You are solid.
Yep.
Until you roll a 6. Ow.
Yo, and then I'm out, and it don't matter anymore.
Right, it's cumulative. I mean, once it catches up with you, it catches up.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I toast her and thank her very much for it.
She hardly even notices. She's just glad to have people to give a beverage to on such a dark evening.
So they may not stop it, but can we throw them in there anyway? Can we just take Sebastian and throw him in a cage with Arjon and just leave them in the middle of the storm anyway? Is that a thing we can do?
If we had the time, we would certainly try that. Unfortunately, we have a more pressing issue, but once this is taken care of, we can decide exactly what to do with the two of them.
Sounds good.
I will say that Sebastian's come a long way in the last few years. It's clear that he wants to help now, but his methods are, well, distasteful.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of his right now.
He doesn't make many fans.
No, I bet not.
No, he makes a lot of loyal followers, but seldom would I call them fans. Am I to understand that you'd be willing to help mitigate this problem? To limit the number of casualties?
Something
Sure,
like that.
why not?
You don't have to.
We kind of do.
What else
Yeah.
are we gonna do?
We kind of broke the plate on this one.
We
should
can't
at least
we
try to
can't
fix
stop it. So may as well try and lessen the damage, I guess.
Yeah.
Very well. Very well. When she told me where she sent it, I couldn't believe it, but I guess when thinking about it, it makes sense.
If she can send it there, couldn't she teleport the people out? Couldn't we teleport the people out?
You understand the difference between teleporting a single object and 1,000 people.
Right.
We're running out of the materials that we need and the power that we need to make this happen. We're down to minutes. At this point, keeping it from growing any larger than it's going to grow each day is going to be our best course of action. Come with me. And she starts waddling through the different piles, and you lose her immediately. It doesn't take long for you to see a little bit of her headscarf or whatever the nasty fabric was on top of her head moving around, and you follow her around to there. And you get to this portion of her piles of junk, and you notice that all of them now have a lot more organization to them than they seemed at first. It all seems so chaotic, but now it has the organization of what you would expect in a closet. You're standing in front of an entire pile of winter clothes. She says, I didn't want to have to use these, but ever since we decided as this might be one of the destinations to send the orb in the worst case scenario, well, we had to be prepared. And she offers you the clothes, which I recommend you take, because
Taken.
you are now all in possession of the warm clothes, and you still have your sand shoes,
Yeah.
and your sand shoes that could work as snowshoes. Because in a flash, well, no, I guess not so much of a flash. With a flourish, the ancient gnome who didn't seem to be able to waddle between piles of clothes vaults over one of the piles and lands at her door. And when she lands, she's dressed in adventuring clothes. So it's as if she was covered in this big pile of garments, but not what she was actually wearing, because in midair she sheds all of it and lands next to the door in adventuring clothes and says, "Not much time, not much time." And the door opens, and all of you follow her down the rope ladders, down the wooded path. You probably take a moment to enjoy the smells again. And before long, you're back in that tavern, and you walk directly up to the ruined doorway that you hadn't seen before, but it's the one you came out of. And this time, exactly the same pattern. A hand movement you hardly see. A series of runes illuminate. Somebody walks through, and you follow. And one at a time, you step foot in a thick pile of snow. The snow is falling all around you. It's bright. The sun is up above. It seems like it could be noon. The sun is so high in the sky. Snow is falling from somewhere because it's not a blue sky. Behind you, a big, giant, throbbing orb. It's 5 times larger than when you saw it last. It's hovering about 5 feet off the ground, and you're standing there with an ancient gnome. And about 15 minutes before the world ends in this particular part of the world. And that's where we'll stop for today.
All right.
All right.
Wow. Okay.
I know. Wow. Okay.
She's gone.
Hi, baby.
Wow.
I guess we're just gonna,
We really screwed
that.
the pooch.
Yeah. Yep.
I just ended the episode, but I would like to share something that either Ellison or Lady P shared with you. She started to share it. It was said on stream, so me to verify or clarify this right now doesn't hurt anything.
Yeah.
She explained that had the other parts of this weapon been found and combined, that the weapon that was created from that would have been so powerful that it could have ripped dimensions apart. The fact that this one single component is causing all this damage is terrible.
Yeah.
But in a way, it also prevents that weapon from ever being
Oh,
created.
look at that. We did a good job.
Oh,
Yep.
no.
And now we're gonna
Don't
instead of
try to make us feel better about this, Grant.
instead of killing a million people, we'll kill 999,000 people.
Oh, see, I feel way
Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
You're right.
no.
Save it that.
Wow.
Hey, at least we can put dimension savers on our resume.
Pad that resume. Get those
But
lines, bro.
I think we also have to add that by saving the dimension, we also killed everybody. Because we...
Man, this is...
We'll put an asterisk on it.
Yeah,
That's like the
Hey,
end
you
of
said
my
you saved
last
the dimension.
campaign.
What's that little asterisk?
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. No. No relevance.
Still a world record.
Yeah.
Well, in 7 days, we will figure out what's going to happen with the 15 minutes that the Arctic has left to survive. And we'll see what our adventurers can do to try and save some lives up there. Until then, as we dream at night about the lives that we've ended, the innocent lives we've ended.
Not yet.
That's right. No innocent lives have ended yet, but I don't really... We'll figure something out, I guess. But our weekend has begun, and we've had fried chicken, we've had pizza, and that means it's time for the rest of the weekend. And we hope that you are having a great beginning, middle, or end of your weekend, and we'll see all of you next Friday.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
We're
Yep.